Hey everybody, we're about to get started, so if we could please quiet down a little bit and head to your seats, I would really appreciate it. I want to get this great event started off here. So, like I said earlier, I want to thank all of you people here in attendance today in person. I want to thank everybody who else is here virtually with us today. We're super excited to present to you guys some of these 10 innovative physical hardware companies developing their products right here in Michigan. I want to take a quick second and thank the City of Southfield and the New Economy Initiative who have supported our mission and continue to help us support these micro makers who are developing their products, again, right here in our great state. I'll be your MC today. My name is Riley Lenhart. I am the Program and Marketing Administrator here at Centrepolis Accelerator. So please bear with me. This is my first time MCing. I could be rusty, it could be a little rough, but I think we're going to have a fun time today. So like I said, you're going to hear from me for a few minutes, and then we're going to hear from our Executive Director, Dan Radomski. We're also going to hear from Ken Siver, the Mayor of the City of Southfield. And we'll also hear from Wafa Denaro, the Executive Director of New Economy Initiative. We're going to be hearing from Dennis Shaver and Daniel Hodges, who are experts in residence here at Centropolis. We're going to have 2 pitch sessions for you today. We're going to be featuring our early stage companies as well as our growth stage companies. Sandwich in between there, we're going to have a fireside chat with Centropolis client Nazar Akil, who's the founder and CEO of MaxPro. And we're going to be speaking about the lessons learned and the pitfalls to avoid from a successful consumer good company. So as I mentioned, of course, we'll have 2 pitch sessions. So following our fireside chat, we're going to be having our growth stage pitch event, or pitching companies. We're going to have about a 20-minute judges deliberation. We're going to be playing a series of client success stories and other videos, as well as an opportunity for all of you in the audience today and virtually to vote for the People's Choice Award. And we'll wrap up our event with 10 minutes of a prize award presentations where we'll be presenting checks to all the winning teams. I want to take a quick second here and thank all of our judges, Paul Reiser with the Ralph Wilson Foundation, Nazar Akil with MaxPro Fitness, Rochelle Freeman and Ken Siver with the City of Southfield, Wafa Denaro with the New Economy Initiative, as well as David Farman with the Rise family of companies. So here's some of our lineup today for our early stage pitch companies. We're going to hear from Versaware, Leafinator, Lucy Pop, The Carpet Puller, and then also Plug Zen. And then our growth stage companies, we're going to hear from Wearology, Pareto Aluminum Systems, Pingree Detroit, Celsius, and AptonBuild. So as I mentioned, these teams are going to be competing for up to prizes up to $35,000. There's going to be 2 $10,000 awards that are going to go to the best early stage and the best growth stage companies, as well as a runner-up for $5,000 for each category. And then, of course, again, we'll have our People's Choice Award for $5,000, which you guys will all be able to vote for after we hear our pitching companies. And that's going to be sponsored and presented by Ward Law. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up our Executive Director of Centrepolis Accelerator, Dan Radomski. Dan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Riley. Thank you. Riley's been an amazing part of our team, and I'll make a point towards the end of the day today to really share my appreciation for the entire staff that really allows us to provide such great services to our clients. First, I want to just thank you all for being here today, both in person and virtually. It's so nice to have in-person events again after all we've been through with COVID over the last couple years. And it's a beautiful day, am I right? It's a beautiful day out today. And more importantly, we are celebrating individuals and companies that are developing products and manufactured right here in Southeast Michigan. Let's hear it. And that's really what Centropolis is all about, is helping people develop physical products, what we call hardware. That could be an advanced material, advanced manufacturing technology, just a physical product, consumer product, medical devices. Today you're going to see a wide range of different products that are being developed and are already manufactured and sold today. And this has been a personal passion of mine. I grew up as a machinist in my dad's machine shop here in Detroit called Mount Elliott Tool off of 96 and Southfield Freeway. And I had the opportunity to learn how to run machines, how to make things. And over time, I was able to work with big and small manufacturers and run my own companies. I've had 8 of my own startups, and my last gig in private industry was actually helping run an international vehicle design engineering firm that developed electric vehicles. And what I learned along the way, the more I got involved, is I started digging into the supply chain and what we had to develop as we were making products in electric vehicles, is more and more manufacturing was moving away from the U.S. and other parts of the world, particularly Asia and lower cost countries. And it hurt my heart because this is where, what really makes Michigan tick, in the Detroit area in particular, is our ability to make things. And to see a lot of that business lost over years, I really wanted to do something about it. So I made it my personal passion to round up the best and brightest people. Some of you're going to hear from today, like Dennis and Daniel, and some of our experts and residents that are here today. And I said, let's really try to help people develop products. And what's amazing is there's hundreds of individuals, inventors, established firms, startups that come to us every year and have ideas for products. And every one of them wants to make it here. They want to make it in Michigan. What they don't always have is the support to design and engineer and drive out cost and complexity and ensure that it's going to be designed durable and reliable the first time. What kills companies that have physical products is they rush to market. They don't have that type of support structure with experts that have been there and done that, and they put it out in the market and it fails, and they've wasted all that time and money, and unfortunately end up losing the confidence of their customers and investors. So we do it differently here. We make sure anyone that comes to us, we're going to design the product the right way, the first time out of the gate, and we're going to ensure it's going to be designed for reliability. We're going to ensure that it's going to be designed at the right cost point so you can have a sustainable business. So very proud to show you and demonstrate these incredible companies and their products today, with the hope that we can help them be very successful in manufacturing their products and growing here their business in Southeast Michigan. So special thanks to the City of Southfield for providing financial assistance to help develop this Southfield Evolution Lab that allows us to concentrate funding and services to Southfield-based businesses that are developing physical products. And I personally want to thank Shelley Freeman and Mayor Cyber, who are here today. You'll hear a little bit about, and also judging. They had the vision for this 4 years ago when we got started, that they saw value in the work of helping develop hardware-based businesses that can manufacture products. We would not be here today without their support, as well as the support of the New Economy Initiative. Wafa De Niro and her team, Mary Fulmer and others, Pam Lewis before, that early on said, hey, there needs to be at least one organization that is focused on helping people develop physical products. And they were the first to take, like the City of Southfield, a risk in giving us money and allowing us to pilot projects and put funding into companies to help them develop and launch their products. And I'm very happy to say today that we had several of these companies take their products to market, and a few of them are going to be pitching today. So thank you so much. I also don't want to forget many other partners that have helped provide assistance, funding, and support for our organization. Where we stand today compared to 4.5 years ago when we were launched is amazing amount of resources and funding to help more clients. Obviously, Lawrence Tech University, you're on Lawrence Tech's campus. We're a part of Lawrence Tech University, although support the broader community, including areas all across the state of Michigan. And we also have funding from the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes Energy to support clean tech related products. And then several foundations have committed support to us, including Ralph Wilson Foundation, Paul Reiser, teams there, William Davidson Foundation, Consumers Energy Foundation, and others, as well as some federal grants that help really provide the capabilities that we have today. So thanks to all of you for your support and kindness. And one thing I'd like to share with everybody that maybe doesn't really understand what we do here at Centropolis is I'd like to share our mantra, which I'll read it to you. It's a very important mantra. I spent a lot of time thinking about this, but really what we're in business is to help enable those that have ideas for physical products to create and recognize their dreams and help them build businesses here and more importantly, manufacture their products right here in our home state of Michigan. We're very fortunate, thanks to the support of the City of Southfield, New Economy Initiative, William Davidson, Ralph Wilson, and others, to also have dedicated funding to support underrepresented companies, so businesses that are led by women, people of color, veterans, people with disabilities. We've now dedicated more than half of our funding and support services to individuals and businesses in that population. So the other thing that's unique about us is not only do we support startups like a lot of incubators, we also help support small businesses. So it doesn't matter if you're an inventor, a startup, or established small business. If you have an idea for a physical product, advanced material, manufacturing technology, come to us. We're here to help. In fact, almost half of our clients today are established small businesses, and they always have, especially small manufacturers, great ideas for new products, new materials, new manufacturing methods. In fact, we'll hear from one company today that's an established small business that's launching new products. And what makes us tick, what makes us unique and different, many incubators are out there are really helpful in business strategy and customer discovery and connections of customers and investors. We do that too, but what makes us a little bit unique focused on hardware is we actually have in-house capabilities that help people design and engineer and prototype their product. We have over 30 experts in residence now, I'm happy to say, experts in every area, design for manufacturability, tooling design, and focus on very specific types of prototyping that we can do in-house and out-of-house. And these people are made available to our clients for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months or longer, whatever it takes to be an extension of their team to ensure their product gets to market successfully. In-house, we have capabilities to do CAD, finite element analysis, real value engineering as we call it. We have a prototyping lab for those that are here in person. I'd love to take you on a tour towards the end of the day. Ability to reverse engineer products and more importantly, get things made to your the specifications that your customers and market are going to demand. These are some of the experts in residence that we work with today. Some of them that are actually here today. So if you haven't had a chance to meet our team and our manufacturing EIRs, I really would like you to use that opportunity in our networking sessions to do that. And I always like to leave, our audience that might be less familiar with us with an actual case study of a company that we've actually supported. And actually, this is a company that Wearology that's going to be pitching in the growth stage company section. They had this great idea for portable parallel bars, which will be used for people that are rehabilitating and walking. If you ever go to a hospital or assisted living center, you have a stationary unit that's big and bulky, and it's on every floor of a hospital or assisted living center. And Gina Adams, the founder of this company, came with a kind of early stage idea, which a lot of people come to us with, in some cases, not even with a CAD drawing like this. They come to us with a sketch art of what they want to be able to do, right? And then what we do is we apply a team of engineers to help design this product to the needs of the population that it's going to serve. So in this case, healthcare providers in hospitals, assisted living centers, healthcare providers that in-home care. What's great about this product is the idea was to make it collapsible and portable so you can actually move it from floor to floor or put it in your car for in-home healthcare. So what we did is we worked closely with her and her team to come up with a wide variety of ideas on how do we make this very flexible so that the bars can telescope up and down for different size patients, and so it could handle the load of very heavy patients, like a bariatric patient. So we did all the finite element analysis, the study on the load requirements, made sure we had the right appropriate strength and materials. As you can see here, the original design had loose components and a lot of custom components. We estimated the cost of goods sold for that unit could be as much as $10,000, which would make it very difficult to sell in market. So we knew we had to get that price down. We benchmarked a number of products. We do a good job of this that also collapse. And sometimes your best ideas come from what's already in market. So you're aware of the collapsible chairs and wagons. So we took a lot of the architectural ideas from consumer products that were out there and then designed it to be completely foldable, collapsible, and on wheels to move around. And we were able to get it to a price point of $1,700. What's great about this, an example, is we applied all these engineers to work on this product for Gina at no cost. And we got to the point where we could, at least in a simulated environment, help her pitch this to her customer, which is the VA hospital. And it immediately allowed her to get a purchase order of 100 units. And this is an example of why we need to exist and why we need to help people. And I'm very proud to say that this product is now in market, selling, and manufactured right here in Michigan. So that's our story. That's what we do. And hopefully we can help a lot of the companies that are in development and early stage today that you're going to hear from get to that point where she's at today and help those that are at the growth stage, like Gina, be successful in growing their business through sales and employing a lot of people here in the state of Michigan.
Hey, Dan, what was the initial product weight approximately from beginning to when you guys refined it?
I'll let Gina address that, but it was, yeah, the first prototype generally is always a little bit heavier, and you always work on the next iteration to get to a lighter weight. We're always trying to drive weight out of that without sacrificing the strength of the materials and how it needs to operate. So with that, now that you know a little bit more about us, let's bring up our partners. And Riley, do you want to come up here and introduce our...
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate hearing from you guys. I mean, everybody here who knows Dan knows what a great guy he is, but being with him on a day-to-day basis, he's a tremendous leader, and truly, we would not be where we are today without Dan. So just want to give a quick shout out to him. But up next, we're going to be hearing from Ken Siver, the mayor of the city of Southfield. Ken? Thank you.
Well, we have great synergy in this facility. It's actually exceeded our initial dreams and expectations of what we hope to develop here. And what's very unique about the accelerator is that we're on the campus of the the leading Michigan, I was going to say, School for Architecture and Engineering. Lawrence Tech, which is a major anchor for the city of Southfield. And then in this building down the hall is our Michigan Works office that connects people with jobs and skill training and so on. So it's really, it's a beautiful synergistic setup that we have here. So people have questioned me as mayor. They go, well, you know, why is the city involved in this? You know, isn't this something that private industry should be doing? Or, you know, I need my street repaired. Why is money going over to this center? Well, from a very self-serving or selfish standpoint, we're a major commercial hub. We have almost 29 million square feet of commercial space, office space. We're a leading office center, office hub in the Midwest, and we need to keep these spaces filled and bring people here. So I know that as I was a school administrator in Southfield Public Schools for many years, and we lost more than a generation of kids that came out of Southfield high schools. Where are they today? They left Michigan. They went to Chicago. They went to Texas. They went to California. They went to DC. They went to New York. And that's one of the reasons why we're an aging community. We don't have a lot of young people here. And yet the university, and the enrollment is up, I'm glad to say, has a phenomenal talent base. And we didn't want to lose the talent that's in this school. We've had a number of companies that recognize Lawrence Tech for its talent. Right across the street, what's called Truck Light, it's now Clariant. They picked that corner because they wanted to be close to Lawrence Tech and the engineering components. So what we're seeing here is a number of students come from the university into this center, and it's sort of like a grad program. And then we're hoping that a lot of that talent, if it doesn't stay in Southfield, at least it stays in Southeast Michigan. So this is really our motivation for being involved in this. It's really about the collaboration between the university, all of the partners that Dan had up here earlier. And I just as a sidebar on the number of partners, that's very impressive. And in other words, those people, all of those organizations have put up money here because they know that this is an enterprise worth supporting, that there is value in what happens here. The program here is obviously grown, as I said earlier. It's exceeded, I think, our initial vision. I see it expanding further and further in the years ahead. And again, thanks to Dan, he's attracted a lot of great talent to help mentor these folks. I see someone I met in the early days, the leather goods, and I was so impressed with your approach. And you're just one example. The Pingree, I needed a minute, but you know, it's that creativity, that taking an idea, and in your case, you are recycling something that would have gone in landfill and finding a new purpose for it. So it's a lot of people have ideas, but they don't know how to launch them. And that's what this center does. It helps people take an idea and make it reality. So that's why the City of Southfield is a partner in this, and thank you all for being here this afternoon. I look forward to the presentations.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Ken. We appreciate hearing from you today. Up next, we're going to hear from Wafa Denaro, who's the Executive Director of the New Economy Initiative. Wafa. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to make this quick so we can get to the actual pitch competition, the reason we're all here. And I will start by saying I'm holding this because they don't make women's clothes with pockets. So all you entrepreneurs, it's a much needed thing. Let me tell you guys a little bit about the New Economy Initiative. We are a Southeast Michigan-based organization with the sole purpose of creating an entrepreneurial small business ecosystem in the region. We believe that every small business, actually every large business, was created with a small business idea, one person who had an idea, and they were able to access the resources to make that the next Fortune 100, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 company. So we really believe in giving all of these small businesses the opportunity to be able to access the resources to grow their businesses. We've done a lot of work in the city of Detroit. It's proved to be very fruitful. We're looking at expanding our work to the region. Centropolis has really proved to be just an amazing partner in this work, and we want to continue to support organizations like Centropolis and other organizations that are supporting small business entrepreneurs. Last month, we announced a $32 million partnership with Wayne County to continue to grow the small business ecosystem, to continue to be able to provide the support. Like I said, we are big believers that the next Ford Motor Company, the next GM, is going to start here, and we just need to make sure that that person with that big idea stays here and has the support to stay here. So with having said that, Dan, thank you so much. Centropolis staff, thank you so much for putting this event on. We are very excited to be partners here. And I also want to call out, NEI has a couple funders that are here. I want to thank them because without the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation and the William Davidson Foundation, we wouldn't be able to do this incredible work and be able to support organizations like this. So a round of applause for all the organizers and our funders. Thank you.
Thanks, Wafa. Appreciate hearing that. Once again, I really want to reiterate, how fortunate Centropolis is to have the support of the New Economy Initiative in the city of Southfield. You guys, and all of our funders included, you guys are what makes this place go. So, up next, we're going to be, first we're going to be hearing in shortly a while, when we have our judges' deliberation, we'll be hearing short stories of Centropolis success stories. We're also going to hear a Centropolis video overview. So I want to bring to the stage now, I want to bring Dennis Shaver and Daniel Hodges, experts in residence here at Centrepolis Accelerator.
So first of all, Daniel and I not really sang together, but we're going to see if we can kind of coordinate together as the speakers here. My name is Dennis Shaver, and
Daniel Hodges,
Daniel
nice to meet you.
Hodges. So first of all, a little bit about our entrepreneurial roots. I came from very humble beginnings as a dairy farmer. And dairy farm, we grew corn, wheat, barley, oats, all to feed cows because cows made milk. And us 7 brothers drank a lot of milk, but we also sold it as well. So that was all about starting with a seed. But when you have a seed, you have to have the right timing. The timing is in the springtime. You wouldn't plant a seed, corn, or barley in the wintertime. So it's timing. So it's the seed, and then you have a gestation period, you cultivate, you nurture, and eventually you have a harvest. You take care of the harvest. Much like product development. This is what got my career going, is the dairy farm. That was the way to really, understand the business model and how it works. So from there, this strategy has helped many, many entrepreneurs, from General Motors, PepsiCo, and Clorox to many business startups. And today, you'll hear about what the strategies people are using, the startups and the scale-ups, get from that seed, that idea, and get it to a market viable product.
So I'm going to do something that is against the rules. Okay. For most of you who know me, that's no surprise. I'm going to read directly from the slide. This is something I told one of my clients, and it was so impactful for her that she asked me to share it. So I'm going to share it with you. So I've learned that I need to come out from behind myself to fully stand on equal footing with the person across from me, across the table with me. I've struggled for so long, decades, to be viewed equally, for a seat at the table to be made for me in recognition of my talents, to some limited success. I now have decided that I will take my equality, and I have made my own seat at my own table, and I invite you to sit at it with me in equality. So we want to thank you so much for understanding that the New Economy Initiative exists to fund micromakers, micro businesses, to help make physical product. The requirements of being in that program are that you're either located in or willing to move to Wayne County. You're a small business with less than 5 employees, and less than 50 employees rather, and that you will receive in-kind investing from us in time and $1K in grant funding.
Yes, and for the city of Southfield, thank you very much for your resources and support over the past 4 years. And also to qualify for the city of Southfield Evolution Lab is number 1, to either live or reside or have your business here in the city of Southfield, or consider moving here. And we've actually had several businesses already relocate from other areas to the city of Southfield. So that's awesome. I wanted to share. He's a fast guy.
Sorry about that.
So also, you need to be in operation for at least 1 year, 1 to 4 employees, and also annual sales of $10,000 to $100,000. And then also you get in-kind advising support. So us folks who've been around the block at least 30 years, that's a maximum we'll say, is that we can offer up the guidance and support for startups as well.
So what's our mission? We're really working to empower underserved and underrepresented micromakers to engage, grow, and thrive. And why is that important? If you empower underserved entrepreneurs, you're empowering innovation. Innovation requires diversity, and they will increase jobs and increase the local economy for all of us.
So how are we actually helping entrepreneurs, give them the chance to engage, grow, and thrive? Next is, it all starts out with mindset. We can either have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. A fixed mindset example is I'm running a 26.2 mile marathon, and all I got to do is get my butt to that 26.2 mile. That's a fixed mindset. It works, but there's also preparation. That goes back to a growth mindset. So a growth mindset, and Carol Dweck says this very well, is really based on being flexible, agile, amiable. You all know starting up a business isn't that easy, and it isn't just a one-way strategy. You've got to have different types of strategies in place, know how to access resources and utilize them to the best advantage.
Are you sure?
Usually we are, yes. So the first one here, I came up with this years ago, the Ready, Aim, Action formula. Now many people say, Dennis, I've got this great idea. And I'll say, great, that's awesome. So how did you start out? Oh, I went to Home Depot, it's not there. So I'm gonna actually take action on this thing. I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute here. So it's really important to know what homework you've done to make sure you can vet and validate that idea so that then you can get it hopefully to a market viable product. There are 3 key areas that we look at here at the very early stages before you start spending a lot of money. A lot of this you can do on your own, online with a phone or a laptop. And that is research. Research, competitive landscape analysis, customer discovery, and then decide to go or no go to market.
So what is research really? Research is all about trying to find out what exists out there in the world that you don't know. What similar products are there? Is your idea something you can buy on Amazon? Is it patented? You don't want to run into someone else's IP. You want to make sure that you understand what is patented so that you understand your opportunity. What's working and what's not working, and why? Are there market opportunities for your device or your service?
And also what's working and not working, you can actually utilize the what's working and not working out there as your virtual prototype before you even start making any efforts in making a product itself or prototype or design. See what's out there, find out what's great and what's not working great, and then build on that.
So to that point, checking the star ratings of your competitors is really a good idea. Finding out what your competitors are doing and what their products are gives you insight to the customer. And if you can learn about the competitors, you can learn about what really works and what doesn't work and why. You can let other people make the mistakes for you. You can learn about them and angle your device, market, or service so that it's appropriate for the folks you're trying to reach. And then finally, customer discovery. Customer discovery is so much more than discovering the customer. Right, Dennis?
Absolutely.
I mean,
right?
how many people have we put in a chair and they started squirming because we told them customer discovery was more than just putting your device in front of somebody and saying, "Do you like this?"
And why do I have to do that, right?
This is a really key learning for most people. It was very powerful for me personally. Customer discovery is about learning everything you can about the customer. You learn about what they like, what they don't like, whom their customers are, and then you learn about the customer from around their associations. So by doing that, you can learn about their needs, spoken, and their unspoken needs. And those are really the things that make your device saleable, that give you the competitive advantage over other folks. And so customer discovery is
Discovering your customer potential. So again, it's right problem, right solution, and right time. An example of that right time, you all know Uber, Lyft. If it wasn't for Uber and Lyft showing up, I mean, how could people, back in 2008, 2007, when the economy was hit really hard, people were able to use their cars to make money. Or also Airbnb. People were able to rent out their properties and make money during a very challenging economy. So right problem, right solution, right time.
And then finally, the go or no-go decision.
So go or no-go is really key. So this is one where if you're really going to invest the time, sweat, energy, all that to move forward with the project, you need to make sure you have a viable market opportunity, you have a competitive advantage with what you want to strive to move forward on, you address a serious market need, and most importantly, then figure out your go-to-market strategy. And these are the things that we help those who are in startups and scale-ups first cover this ground and understand if you have to have a go or no go-to-market strategy, if it's right timing, and then evolve from there.
And a lot of time is very low cost to no cost.
True. Yep. Like a zero budget, practically.
Yep.
Yep. So early and growth stage resources that we have available is business risk assessment. Many people are not aware that, you think if you have a great idea, I'm going to run to this out to Home Depot, see if they like it. There's some things you need to do. Business risk is really key. We actually help you with that assessment, and also then milestone planning. Intellectual property searches online. There's a lot of resources there. We also have resources here, Ward Law, that can help with that, with patents, trademarks, and copyrights.
Product development, again, as Dan spoke earlier, is really our wheelhouse. We can help you with engineering, design, and prototyping. We help you with testing and material selection, tooling, and manufacturability. So where else can you go to make your dream not only a reality, but a manufacturable reality?
Most importantly, make it a reality here in the state of Michigan. There's lots of suppliers here that are looking for work to be able to help build businesses here, a lot of resources here, so we actually have a lot of potential to tap in those resources. We also provide marketing and sales strategy support, and then most importantly, funding sources. So what to expect from our pitchers today? Now remember this, everyone here, everyone that's watching this online, everyone's got an idea, all has something in common with Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, all of them, and it starts with a mindset, and that's the starting point of all possibility. They started at ground zero. Everyone with a great idea starts at ground zero. So the early stage companies that are speaking to you today, a lot of them have never spoke before in front of a group of people. This is new to them. So, and the scale ups as well, they're learning along the way. They're spending all their time in their businesses trying to make things happen. So this is new to them as well. But the bottom line, when it comes to the pitches today, you're going to hear about the introduction, market problems that they've searched and researched for, competition, market opportunity, market solutions, to traction they've made to date, and that could be funding, intellectual property, and so forth, and also their team, and most importantly, next step strategy.
And very quickly, you're going to see a lot of courage. Pitching is difficult. Pitching is hard. And we want to thank all of our pitchers today for all the work that you've done, all the effort that you've put in, all the patience you've expressed. These people are heroes. Please, and all for the pitchers, everyone here wants you to do well. So in our call to action, we really want you to connect with our entrepreneurs. Please feel free to walk up to them after this event, network with them, understand how you can help them on this Juneteenth. Help us together to make a stronger Southeastern Michigan for everyone.
We're here to help you help yourself.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Gents, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Dennis and Daniel. Appreciate hearing from you guys today. So now we get into really what we all came here to see, right? All of our pitching companies. So I want to ask the judges now to please come to your tables, to grab a seat, and in just a matter of moments, we're going to begin pitching. So I got Shelly, I got you over here. Got Nazar right here. And then, yeah, David, you're on the other. Alrighty. And Nazar, we got you right in over here. So I'd like to ask Dan Radomski to come up to the stage, and he's going to be introducing all of our early stage and growth stage companies. Dan?
Thanks, Riley. So again, a reminder, the whole reason we're here today, again, is to particularly celebrate companies in city of Southfield and Wayne County that are developing products. Why Centropolis has a broader mission to support hardware, physical product developers no matter where they are in the state. We're particularly celebrating the contributions of the city of Southfield New Economy Initiative have made to allow us to launch this Southfield Evolution Lab and Wayne County Micromaker program. And what we have done is breaking them up into two categories: early stage companies that are still developing their product and working on commercializing and selling it, and then growth stage companies that you'll hear from a little bit later. Growth stage companies are those that we've already helped commercialize and develop products and are now selling them actively and scaling their business. And the reason we separated those two, if you've ever been to a pitch competition, it's hard to kind of compare an early stage company with a growth stage company because growth stage companies are already making revenue, right, and growing. So we have also separated our prize awards for early stage companies versus growth stage companies. And you're going to see a wide mix of really interesting products, everything from consumer products, medical devices, clean tech related products that are in development and or already in market and made here in the state of Michigan. So without further ado, let's get right into it and introduce our first company that's going to be featured, Q Johnson with PlugZen, Wayne County-based Detroit company that is developing electric vehicle chargers.
Thank you, Dan. I think it's safe to say that no one in this room is happy about today's gas prices. Anybody here from Shell or BP? Okay, no one. And with the global community becoming more aware of the impending catastrophe with global warming, it has caused electric vehicle sales to skyrocket, which seems like a novel answer to the problem, but this has created another problem. the demand for electric vehicles has outpaced the supply of electric vehicle charging stations. You can't build vehicles fast enough, and we can't build charging stations fast enough. And there are over 40 electric vehicle charging companies right now that are struggling to meet this demand, but they're missing a large portion of this market, commercial property owners. These 40 some odd companies built single and dual stations. These stations have to be individually installed to scale. That can become very expensive for commercial property owners that want to provide EV charging for their tenants, their employees, or just their visitors. Plugs-In has developed a patent-pending modular EV charging system. This consists of one hub and 4 satellites. When it's completely installed, you can charge up to 10 vehicles simultaneously. Because of the modular setup with the hubs and the satellites, it cuts the installation and equipment costs by more than half, making it practical and efficient for our customers. These would be multifamily housing, workplace charging, and fleet operations. In fact, we're currently working with the GSA on a blanket purchase order, or get approved for a blanket purchase order so we can outfit government buildings. We've displayed this charging solution at the LA Auto Show, at the New York Auto Show, and we're getting ready for the Detroit Auto Show. We've also been invited to United Nations Conference of Parties in Egypt to display this as a global solution. Because not only does it meet our large customer demands, it meets underserved communities' demands too by keeping that cost really low. So, we are currently raising $1.5 million. We've already raised $250,000 from angel investors, and we've been greenlighted for $500,000 through an MEDC fund, and we're going to seek an additional $500,000 from angel investors. Let's save the world for you, your children, and your grandchildren. Everything we do today will matter tomorrow. Thank you.
That's fine. Yeah,
Now
5
we're
minutes
going
of
to take
Q&A
some
is good.
questions from our esteemed judges. So I'm going to try to moderate and see who has a question that would like to ask of Q. David?
Yeah, so a couple questions. One, around the funding, was the $500,000 from MEDC a challenge? Is it, you have to, so it's regardless?
The FBI 2 fund, they took some of that DARPA fund, they shifted it over to a business plan, and they announced it 2 weeks ago, and the director reached out to me, told me just find a bank.
Got it. What do you think the 1.5 does for the business?
Well, the 1.5 right now is going to allow us to go into manufacturing in the fourth quarter. Right now, I'm building my launch team. We'll be in a Detroit Smart Parking Lab within a few weeks, and from there, we want to get there by August, so when we at the Detroit Auto Show, we can say, hey, it's right there in the lab, and then from there, we'll be manufacturing in West Detroit. Detroit Manufacturing Systems on Southfield and Schoolcraft.
So when you say it's about half, that it cuts it down to do the unit that way, are you saying that it's half of the cost? Is that per car? That's what you're
Well, no, I'm saying it's half of everything. A dual charging station right now costs $2,000.
Yeah.
And so installation right now costs about $3,000 to $5,000. So if you let's just say $4,000 for each station, dual stations, you're at $20,000. Our initial station right now costs about $1,000. It's going to go up because we had to source some more chips. Right. Our initial station costs about $1,000. The additional stations cost about, the subs cost about $800. So altogether, $3,400. And here's where the killer comes in. $1,000 to put that first station in, $200 to plug and play the additionals. And that's where we cut the cost really.
Piggybacking it as well.
Exactly, plug and play.
And these aren't superchargers, they're regular.
No, this is level 2 charging for anywhere a car is going to sit for 2 or more hours. Workplace, home, and right now, home and workplace charging is where 75% of EV charging is done right now.
For sure.
Thanks, David. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Paul?
Yeah, good job. Excellent presentation. I think it was great lead in and welcoming us, warming us up, I think, with the price of gas. Can you talk to us more about the team, what that consists of, the knowledge, the expertise that you feel can make this venture successful along with yourself?
Well, my team right now, initially are the advisors, Carla Walker Miller, Sylvester Hester. These are powerhouses in the industry. They have over 100 years of combined experience in utility and EV manufacturing. Now me, I have over 20 years experience in the automotive industry. As a matter of fact, I left Ford in 2006 to work with EV startups. So I've been working with one of the persons who worked with EV startups the longest, and I started my own startup. We are building, if you look on my website, you'll see Yvette Nance. She has over 20 years in the automotive industry. She's our HR manager. And she sourced, what we're using right now are consultants. She sourced several consultants that will move into those launch positions once we get the funding. And some of them have over 15 to 20 years in the industry. Some of them have around 10. But this is our initial launch team. And after we get launched in the fourth quarter, they're going to transition into our senior management team and build their teams up.
Awesome.
I'd like to ask, how are you marketing this?
Well, that's right now, because we were bootstrapping all our cash, our initial marketing was at the auto shows that we were at. We had to get in front of the potential customers, the potential audience, and from there, we made the connections to the major, commercial customers that we were looking for. Property owners like New York, Icon, several companies that want to do this property. As a matter of fact, the New York Port Authority is trying to push me through their program so they could start putting me in some of their facilities. So that was our customer discovery. At first, it was a lot of cold calls, and they didn't know who Q Johnson was. But when they saw me on that stage, then they would come up and ask questions, and that's how I did my customer outreach and my customer discovery.
I just see I'm thinking locally, apartment buildings or office buildings
Yes.
here. How are you going to reach those people? I hear the auto show and that seems higher up. It's really going to be your everyday consumer, isn't it?
No, it's going to be commercial property owners,
Well, that's what I mean.
multifamily. We're working with Walker Miller Energy Service. Carla Walker Miller is on my advisory board, and she's going to be our distributor. And right now, she has those customers. So actually, through DTE's Charging Forward program and other programs through the MEDC, we're just going to get a warm intro to those customers, let them know that this because MEDC has a Charge Up program. DTE has a Charging Forward program where they try to encourage property owners to adopt EV charging. So once this product is available, it's going to be a warm intro like, hey, it's out here, and this will solve your needs efficiently.
Okay.
All right, one last question, Czar?
You mentioned, was it $3,500 or $4,000 for traditional power station, is that correct?
Yes.
And you can do it for thousands, and then an additional $200 for
Well,
each?
that was as of November.
So, yeah.
As of November, we had our chips for like $5. They all got bought up from in February, $80. The prototype that we'll get in a few weeks costs $147. So after we get that new chip and we got to put a new modem to it, after we redo our BOM, or our bill of materials, after we redo our bill of materials, we'll have more close to cost. But back in November, it was $1,000. The thing looked beautiful, and I was getting ready to sell it to everybody.
Now, let's say it is 1,000. I mean, whether it's
going to go up.
But yeah. So your value proposition is versus 4,000. You can install it for 1,000. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, what the installation cost is going to be roughly the same. That initial station is going to take the same voltage as the same station as the as my competitors, but there are a few less moving parts, and stacking it is where the costs are going to come in at.
And who is bearing the cost for that initial? Is it the property owner?
Well, right now, like I said, Charge Up, there are a lot of, because of the NEVI funds, there are a lot of incentives coming through the utility companies and the municipalities. So right now, in November, when that program hits, between DTE and the MEDC, 2/3 of that cost are going to be covered. And that's another thing that we're working with Carl Walker Miller Energy Services, making sure that these customers understand these rebates that are coming, these incentives. And right now, all of the incentives that started last November are dried up now. So when they hit November, we're going to get these people in the pipeline early before that money runs out again. Yes.
When somebody puts in the initial charger, then your system plugs into that and expands the power. Is that correct?
Well, actually, the initial charger has most of the components. That's why it costs more. 600 amps, 240 volts, and that distributed through the other stations.
And so by you adding 10 more stations, the initial unit that's put in will have sufficient power to cover all the additional?
Yes, with that 600 amps. Each station is going to take about 80 amps because we're 9 to 11 kilowatts. So each station is going to be 240 amperes, but you got to go 20% over whenever you do power to secure it. So that's why we're bringing in 600 to make sure we never have any issues.
We're all full at the same time.
Yeah, and as long as you don't go over 250 feet, you won't have a current drop.
All right, Q, thank you very much. Let's hear it for Q Johnson. Plugs in. Looking forward to helping you get this product to market and installed right here in Michigan sometime soon. So I'd like to also bring up our second pitch company, the Carpet Puller. Woody Necco, who has worked tirelessly with us for over a year now to design, engineer, and develop his product, really novel product. Woody, I'm going to give you the dials here. And you click the green button to go forward. Yep.
Hello, I'm the founder of the Carpet Puller. Commercial carpeting is just about everywhere. From stores, high-rise buildings, just about every office building has glued down carpeting. The tool rental companies and carpet supply houses are the places that supply the specialty tools that are used for this kind of job. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is the lack of innovation in carpet tools. This particular tool has been out for 50 years, and this has to be done on your hands and knees. They came up with a pole cutter, which helps a lot, but it gets caught on every little imperfection in the cement. Strains and sprains are the #1 injury for carpet installers. It's 30% of all workman's comp injuries. I know, I'm one of them. Changes in the workforce, talking about the changes in the workforce, can you try and find somebody to do a labor-intensive job today? It's almost impossible. And on top of that, the worst part is we've got 5 billion pounds of carpeting going into the landfills each and every year. That's 5 billion pounds. So right now we have two choices. You've got the little hand cutter or you've got the pole cutter. That's it. Those are the only two choices. So we came up with a new design. We came up with a commercial thing which is contractor friendly. What that means is it glides smoothly over the concrete and misses all the holes and pits in the concrete and cuts the carpet smoothly. And what the important part of that is that we can cut the carpet in large enough pieces to where you can recycle it. Where you have normally a little tiny floor scraper that only scrapes it up in a 1-foot stripe. That really doesn't facilitate recycling. You have to have it in 4 to 6 foot strips. So the other thing is when you cut carpeting, sometimes the glue is really sticky and it's really hard to push. So we also invented the power assisted pulling base with the diverter pad. What that does is I can put my power base clear across the room, hook it onto my cutter, push a button and just follow it across the room at 33 feet per minute. It does all the work for me. I don't have to push and shove the carpet. It does it all for me. Right now, there's $73.9 billion worth of carpeting that's going to be coming out in 2026. That's a lot of carpeting. From the 5 billion pounds that's going into the landfills now, can you imagine how much is going to be going into the landfills by 2026? We have to do something now. So let's go over that again. We've got the carpet knife that is just on your hands and knees. You have a pole cutter, which is good for loose carpeting, but if it's glued down carpeting, it really just doesn't work. I know, I've been doing this for the last 14 years. Then you have the pullers, and all the pullers are worthless. So we had to come up with one of those too. Right now, we've invested over $30,000 in our own money for trademarks, patents, and logos. I've got one full patent on my carpet puller. I've got 3 patent pendings based off that patent, so they are pretty much sure to go through. We've got 2 more patents that are in the works. I've got 1 finished prototype for my carpet cutter, and that should hit the market this year. I've got 3 prototypes of my carpet pulling unit, and one's including a carpet pup, which is for homes. Then we have the first of its kind, which is a carpet square machine, because most carpet is now going into carpet squares, because if you get a spot on it, you can just fix that little square by pulling it up and replacing it. But when you go to change it, each one is separate, and so you have to pull each one up. It's really difficult. So for our 6 to 12 month focus, we would like to get the pilot of the Premier Carpet Cutter out on the market through the tool rental departments of Home Depot and Lowe's. We're currently working with Lowe's right now. The pilot after that will be getting the Premier pulling base out, which is what is really going to help everybody by taking the hard work out of doing this. And then once we have that on the market, then we plan on getting the carpet square machine finished and get that on the market. I'd like to thank personally our professional team from the carpet puller and the advisors from Lawrence Tech University and the city of Southfield. We couldn't do this without you, and we appreciate you tremendously. I'd like to thank you for helping us help you. And remember, pull carpet, not muscles. Thank you.
Pat, I'd like you to stay here, and we're actually bringing your prototype out that we helped you develop. So if you have questions, you might be able to talk about that in more detail.
I have a quick question. So
Wow.
what is the market for something like this? I mean, I personally don't see myself ever needing anything like this, but what is the anticipated market?
Well, the anticipated market on this is actually very good. Right now, there's actually only 2 products like there, which is the carpet knife and the crane cutter. This will replace the crane cutter. And right now, they're about, I'd say about maybe $17 million in sales for the crane.
Annually?
Well, I think it says annually on, when you look up the Duns and Bradstreet, it says that they do that much in sales. I'm not guaranteed that that's totally for the cutter, because I think they have a couple other products out there, but we anticipate we're going to take over this market. You know, by producing something that is solid and dependable, and that you know, we can hopefully, you know, give a lifetime warranty on, then this thing here will pretty much do just about anything you need. Then when you top that off with the pulling base with the diverter pad, you know, that right there is going to be a game changer. And then on top of that, when you put on the carpet square machine, because we've got 2 versions of that. We've got one that's pulled by the machine and one that is like a powered pallet jack that you just drive along, and it scoops up the tiles, lays a piece of wax paper in between them so they can actually be reused besides just being recycled. You know, so that's where we're really at. We want to reuse and get, you know, most of this carpet out of the landfills.
Then we have any other questions?
When you cost out a job using automation like this of some form versus the manual or physical labor on this thing, what does it look like, one versus the other,
Well,
time-wise?
time-wise, like I said, I worked for a commercial property management company for the last 14 years. My boss owned 28 buildings. So when I would go in there and let's say I've got a building that's 20,000 square feet, and I'm going to cut the carpet and pull the carpet on it, which I do regularly, it would take me 1 full day just cutting carpet. Because you know, you have to push and shove and crawl on your hands and knees and cut it. When I developed the first part of this, the first stage, and I was able to hook it up to my machine and pull it across the room at 33 feet per minute, I was done by lunchtime. and my boss was just totally amazed. He is loving it. You know, he actually really wants this. He says, get that on the market as soon as possible because I need it.
What's the end price on a unit?
We're looking at this thing will probably sell for a little under $200. Right now, the one that's on the market is around $150, $175. So if we can keep it comparable, you know, then you know we should do pretty good. And it's about $11 million market.
And so I know it's mostly a fragmented market, is that right? Like the installers are not typically parts of the distributors, is that right? Do they usually freelance that or they do that themselves?
Well, a lot of carpet companies, the big companies, they have their own installers.
They do.
You know, and then a lot of small mom and pop places do just carpet installs. You know, so they will, you know, do the selling and everything. Then they will go in with their own team and do the installs. So just about every company that does this will have multiples of these, because every one of their trucks will have one or two. I've got 2 of them myself, of the other cutter. You know, so when you figure how many of these are out there, it's amazing. You know, like I said, the company that I work for, we've got 3 or 4 of them.
Any other questions?
Yeah, real quick, unless there's any others. Talk to us about the sales cycle that you encounter when attempting to sell into, whether it be small shop or Home Depot and Lowe's, as well as can you talk about the evolution of that product and what you foresee being able to maintain a competitive differentiating advantage?
Well, the nice thing about this is it doesn't take too much further testing or anything to make it work. It works really well for what it does, and it doesn't have to do anything else. It really is pretty much cut and dried on what it does. We've pretty much got it down to the minimal thing, you know, where you couldn't, you know, use any fewer pieces. You know, this is just about as simple as we can make it and most effective as we can make it. Right now, the companies that are doing this, they're doing a relatively good amount of business, but they're having so many problems with it because they can't get the employees to do the job. You know, they can't get the things done. With my tools, and especially with the puller, it's a one-person operation. You could put this on, hook the puller up to this, put it on the ground, push the button and walk behind it, and you're doing it by yourself. You don't have to have a team of people. Well, normally, you know, carpet installers, there are 3 or 4 people at a time. Well, now you can do it with 1 to 2 people. Like I said, my boss would send me to a building. I'd cut the carpet by myself, have it out of there before noon, and the carpet installers are in there by 1 o'clock. That just saved my boss a fortune. You know, because number one, the carpet installers, they charge a fortune to tear up carpeting, you know, because they have a team that does it. You know, if they had a team that had a team of these, you know, they'd have it done in a heartbeat.
I'm thinking about, you know, you talk about all the amount of carpet that goes in the landfill. Sometimes you have damaged carpet, and the thing seems to be to then throw everything away and start all over. This looks like something that could cut better than hand, something linear, so you have a straight line that you might be able to just, instead of clearing a whole space, you would.
Exactly. And that's one of the big things. A lot of times when you have a big commercial building like this, 20,000 square feet, you have paths where people have used a lot of traffic. Mm-hmm. But the rest of it is almost brand new. You could take a good section which is 10,000 square feet and all these little miniature houses that they're building for these homeless people and the veterans, you could fill them. You know, you could use this commercial carpeting for all kinds of things. Broadloom carpeting is wonderful to use, but then they have the carpet squares. The carpet squares is where everything's going nowadays because, you know, every little square that gets damaged, you throw it out and put a new one in. Yeah. You know, but then to take that up is a real pain in the neck. You know, we just tried to do that on a commercial building, and it took us about 2 weeks to pull up all the carpet squares, where I could have done that with my machine in less than 2 days. It's a no-brainer.
So we have to wrap up our questions. Thanks so much. Let's hear it for Carpet Puller. Great job.
Thank you, sir.
So I've said this a million times, but the best innovation you see in industry is generally comes from people that are in that profession, right? And it's generally because they're doing work, in some cases back-breaking work like I did as a machinist, running manual engine lathes for 14 hours a day. And you innovate an idea that makes your life more convenient, right? So in this case, Carpet Puller has really done that, and his team looking forward to seeing what that does to help people in that profession from an ergonomic standpoint do their jobs better and quicker and more efficient. So now I'm going to welcome up our next micromaker, another Southfield-based business and someone we've had the pleasure of working with for some time, Tanya Osby with Lucy Pop. Come on.
Hi everybody, my name's Tanya and I am the founder of Lucy Pop. So for so many of you guys out here, how you look really matters, right? It's the reason why you got out of bed, you brushed your teeth, you decided to shave, and you're wearing the clothes that you're wearing, right? But for about 85 to 90% of women around the world, how they look and how they feel extend to their hands, specifically their nails. But something you don't know and you don't hear about very often that's happening behind the scenes, and when you think of the nail care industry, you often think of really bold colors, long claws, right, those glossy magazines. But as I was saying, like one of the things you don't hear and you don't see that's happening behind the scenes, which is an epidemic, and it's something I know very personally. I've been a licensed nail technician for the last 5 years, is the overexposure of chemicals that often lead to distorted and damaged fingernails, the allergies that happen and ensue, and even my own fingernail up there, the consistently breaking and chipping of nail polish. It's something I've dealt with for the last 5 years, talking to clients one-on-one, and I hear directly from fellow nail technicians. So over the last 50 years, you know, going back to the 1970s, you've seen innovation in almost every single industry. But when you look at the nail care industry, nail polish, gel, acrylic, and dip powder have remained relatively unchanged. That is half a century of stagnation. But at Lucy Pop, we're literally changing that narrative. We've invented a product that allows regular nail polish to last on women's fingernails for up to 3 weeks. Our patented method decreases the risk of chipping, chemical overexposure, and weak nails. And so our solution is actually really simple. We use a sustainable material that's highly effective and non-damaging. And when it comes to our competition, we literally blow them out of the water. We're longer lasting, quicker drying, non-damaging, and most importantly to nail technicians that do this and customers at home, we're easy on and easy off. And so what's kind of confounding about the nail industry is it continues to grow year over year. It's a $14 billion global market with over 260,000 nail techs right here in the United States. When we look at launching right in our immediate area, we're looking at addressing about 6,400 of those nail techs in our immediate area. So our traction to date has been quite phenomenal. In a very short amount of time between product development, I'm really proud to say that we were granted a utility patent, so I stand amongst the less than 5% of women that hold a patent with just their name alone. Everything to doing a pre-launch last month for their early adopters, and our next steps are to scale up manufacturing and team expansion. So as I said, I'm the founder. I'm a licensed esthetician, licensed manicurist. I didn't start in this world. I come from a background of computer science and public relations, but I'm really proud to now kind of navigate into this role as a product developer. A lot of what has been accomplished up to this point could not have been done without so many really helpful partners and people along the way. I really thank you guys for being here, listening to me, and for believing that micromakers like myself can do it. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. Great presentation. Wafa?
Can you tell us a little bit about production? How, where is production? How is production going? How many are you producing a year? What are your varieties? Just, you know. Sure. Yeah. So right now, we did a soft launch. So we sourced the material from a third party that's located in New Jersey, and then we source the actual primer. So we do our own in-house primer, and we have our fiber, and that's out of New York. I assemble it myself right here in Michigan. I am the manufacturer. And then I guess to answer your question in terms of ramping and scaling up, that's something we're working with LTU to kind of streamline that a little bit more. But the nice thing is that there's not too much to it. It is a relatively simplistic product that requires 3 total ingredients, and it's a 2-component kit. That's great.
So it's a simplistic product. but you have a patent on it,
Yes.
and that means that others won't be able to follow along your process. Is that correct? The process that you developed?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
mean, I like to stay very realistic. There's bound to be knockoffs as soon as you get into the industry. So I think the goal is to be first to market as like one of the original ones. The patent that we do have happens to be utility patent as well as a method patent and a kit patent. The patent attorney I worked with happened to work for Procter & Gamble for the last 20 years and was a biochemist. So we did our best to create something that would be relatively infringible.
So my question is, it's an amazing, huge market, right?
Yes.
And if it's as compelling as it's shown here in terms of care for nails and nail health and so on, what is your approach to go to market and to reach the masses? Are you going to direct-to-consumer market, or are you going through distributors, or how does that work?
Sure, that's actually a really great question. So I took a lot of time to think about that. I decided to go B2B, so direct to the nail technicians. It's a lower point of market entry. It's an area I'm very familiar with. I already have the network for. And a lot of that conversation that happens between nail technicians and clients is very one-on-one. It's very intimate. So its ability to spread a little bit further and faster and have professionals kind of fact check me, right, before I launch D2C was really important. So definitely B2B. Our channel partners happen to be nail salons, licensed nail technicians, and then the industry is comprised of distributors that, like Tully, that kind of reach in, and then maybe your product is carried at like Disney resorts, for example.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is there a specific method to remove this nail polish, or?
Yeah, I love that question. You remove it with regular nail polish remover.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Sounds great.
All right. Any other questions?
I think I do.
Wait, we had one last question.
So talk to us about your vision. Where do you see the company? What do you see as an exit strategy? Is this to grow a large business, or is this to sell to the largest nail producer in the market and to run off and move to Hawaii?
That sounds really good. So the goal is to be a multi-product company. It's not just, honestly, this product and that is troubling in the industry. It's actually multiple products. So this is where we've decided to start because this is where we can affect the most change and build the most credibility and confidence. But the goal would be to kind of roll out new innovative, either plant-based or safer products for the industry. And the goal is absolutely acquisition. On my traction slide, we are talking with a large industry player that has international footprint. So the goal is to eventually sell the company and for me to keep innovating other products. Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's see it happen, Tanya.
One comment. I was in Chicago for 3 years,
Uh-huh.
and every third shop is a nail salon.
Yeah,
These places are jam-packed.
they're ubiquitous.
Okay.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And so they get a lot of foot traffic, which you don't have like in these kinds of suburbs. So I was just a comment. I mean, I was totally surprised why all these women get their nails done. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's part of our wardrobe. Yeah.
The reason why her business is going to be successful.
Thanks, guys.
Cheer for Tanya. Great job. So the comment I made before, right? Innovation comes from those in the profession, and another example there with Tanya. So looking forward to developing that business right here in the city of Southfield. And coming to us from Wayne County, if I had the clicker, there it is right here, okay, is another early stage company that we've been working with for about 6 months, and I think has a ton of promise. Barbara Lyons with Leafinator. Why don't you come up to the stage, and you just hit the green button.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Barbara Lyons, and I'm founder and CEO of the Leafinator LLC. So by a show of hands, how many of you own a rake that rake leaves? That's really good. So have you ever thought about how labor intensive and time consuming it is to rake and pick up leaves and debris? I mean, after we rake, we still have to bend and stoop and grab to get those leaves into a bag or bin. And we have to do that over and over again, which causes pain, soreness, and stiffness on our back, knees, and joints. And there are not a lot of options in the market to help with this drooling task. So what are we going to do? Great news, we have the solution that eliminates bending, stooping, and grabbing, protecting your back, knees, and joints. And more importantly, it saves you time. So introducing the Leafinator, the rake that does more. It's ergonomically designed, and with 3 functions in one, it rakes, grabs, and picks up leaves and debris effortlessly. Now, we all know that there are some good products on the market today, but based on current reviews, the competition is missing the mark. I've heard some complaints that it's hard to rake, or it's flimsy, or it drops the leaves, or breaks easily. But let's take a look at a competitive analysis using 3 other products, okay? And as you can see, the Leafinator is hitting the mark on every level. It rakes both wet and dry leaves. It grabs a large amount of leaves, and it's rugged but easy to use, and there is no assembly required. So what about market size? Well, with residential being one of our top end users, there are about 1 million single-family homes in the U.S., and most homes are likely to have more than one rake. So we can safely project sales to be in the millions and millions of dollars. Now, this is a groundbreaking opportunity for new and improved innovation. So what's our traction to date? Well, with 20,000 plus in bootstrapped investment, we have a pending utility patent and trademark. We have a phase 1 prototype developed, and we have identified our target market end users. So what's next? Well, in the months ahead, we will have a phase 2 functional prototype by 3rd quarter of this year, followed by engineering and testing, then market segment validation, and customer acquisition. Now, we're working with a great team of advisors, Centrepolis Accelerator, and with this collaboration, we are confident that soon we'll be helping millions rake smarter, not harder. And this is Barbara Lyons. I'm Barbara Lyons, founder and CEO of the Leafinator LLC. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Great job, Barbara.
Thank you.
Question?
Yeah, Barbara, I'm fascinated because I have a lot of trees and a big yard. But I don't quite understand how, I get it that it picks up, but
Yes.
How many, I just don't quite, I'm not quite visualizing without seeing it how that works.
Well, it's a all-in-one rake that is adjustable, where it also, grabs the leaves. And you can operate it with just by pulling up the handle. Okay. And I was able to make a Frankenstein prototype myself, so I know I can get it to work. With professional engineers, it can work, make it happen. Right. And there are not a lot of products like that out on the market.
And we're working on that prototype right now. David? David?
So I noticed you were comparing it against kind of these niche rakes. It wouldn't be you wouldn't compare it against like a leaf blower, for example?
No, there's no comparison to a leaf blower. I mean, using a leaf blower, you're just blowing it from one spot to the other. Right. But as a homeowner and some other end users, you have to actually clean it up and bend and stoop, and you get it into a bag.
So what this is doing is just grabbing that much more, and without you having to put any effort in.
Correct. Without us having to bend and stoop and use all that, we won't have to overexert ourselves.
And how much are you expecting it'll cost at
scale? A little under $40.
To the end consumer.
Correct. Yes.
Of course I have a question, right? So Barbara, describe your why and why you feel that you will be best suited to ensure that this business is successful.
Well, I would be a consumer, of course, and I've had 3 homes. The second home I had like 5 mature trees. So I had a lot of work to do. And then I was a lot younger and healthier. And I could have used it back then. So now, I mean, I'm not getting any younger, so I definitely need something to help get those leaves out.
If you figure out the getting younger, then let me know, because I'll buy that one too. But thank you.
You're welcome.
Nazar?
Barbara, do you have any costing yet, or more, like how you going to compare from a pricing perspective with some of the products that are out there now? And
Absolutely. Yeah, the other 2 products that I use have similar features, and they're averaging about a little under 40, well, about mid-40s and a little under. So
and
I
you
would
gonna be in that same.
would like to be in that same price range if possible.
Those are distributed through retailers mostly?
I haven't seen any of the 2 other than the standard rate, but the other 2 that have similar features, I haven't seen them in retail stores like the big box stores. I think it's online.
And Barbara, could you reiterate, you mentioned 1 million single-family homes. Is that in a certain southeastern Michigan geography? That wasn't national.
That's based on the U.S. Census, just researching online. So we found that to be true for the U.S. And that's just one market. You know, we're looking to market to both domestically and internationally. And that's only using one end user. So there would be quite a few end users aside from the residential perspective.
Thank you. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? If not,
Thank
let's
you.
thank Barbara for being here today.
And
Excellent
thank you.
job.
Thank you.
Really promising product. We're looking forward to helping her develop that and get it to the right price point, get it to market here in the coming months. So we have one last company that we are going to hear from. And this is a company that we, as we're developing, helping develop products, often we're working with multiple incubators in the state where we're supporting more of the product development. This is a client that we share with Lean Rocket Lab. Ken, who's here today, it's our 2 organizations, been working very closely with Versaware to help them design and engineer and bring their product to market. So I'd like to have Jacob Lindberg with Versaware come up. Join me in welcoming Jacob. Green button.
Thank you, Dan. How's it going, everybody? All right, so my name is Jacob Lindberg. I am the co-founder of Versaware, and we build technology that digitizes the entire recipe creation and nutrition building process through an all-in-one smart kitchen appliance. So according to statistics, that's my first slide, 82% of the people in this room are going to go home after this event tonight, and they're going to make a meal like this. Might not be spaghetti, but regardless, it's going to taste good, right? Chances are, though, although it may taste good, how do you know it's not teeming with horrible nutritional value? Some of you may be thinking, I don't care about that, I'm going to eat it anyway. But on the same token, 3 out of every 5 people in this room have some sort of dietary requirement, whether it's self-imposed or medically prescribed, that necessitates that they understand the breakdown of the food that goes into their body. If you're anybody that falls under these categories on the right, you understand more than anybody that there's a severe disconnect between the 2 culinary domains of being able to simply make a food or make a meal and be able to understand the complete nutritional breakdown of what it is that's in that meal. Conventional applications that are used to bridge this gap, like MyFitnessPal or MyPlate, if anybody's familiar, are extremely time-consuming, inefficient, and worst of all, frustrating to use. If you're not familiar with these applications, what they involve is a very barbaric method of having to continually move ingredients throughout the kitchen, take those ingredients, weigh them, take that weight, open up your phone, populate them into a mobile spreadsheet, along with a bunch of other parameters, and repeat that process for the entire meal. You can see how that'd be very frustrating. So what we did is we built an all-in-one solution by building the first smart kitchen appliances that streamline that entire process and bring everything into one device. What we do is we allow the consumer the ability to tailor-make their meal as they make it to meet personal dietary goals by virtue of real-time nutrition tracking from start to finish. And so what our products actually do is we save people a tremendous amount of time. We've done small focus groups with our bare bones alpha prototypes, and we've gauged an average time-saving decrease of about 50% per meal using our devices as opposed to the current methods. And the reason we do that is because we eliminate the need to use any type of phone, measurement devices like table spoons, cups, weight scales, and even use recipe instructions. So what have we done? We did a soft launch campaign back in February with our bare bones alpha prototypes, and in under 1 month, just marketing directly to our internal team's social media followings, we had over $125,000 worth of reserved and pre-ordered product that we need to ship to customers once we can hit high volume production. We filed 2 provisional patents that we plan to convert to utility in August. We've more than doubled our headcount in the last month, and we just signed on our first lead investor. So the market size is pretty attractive. You know, as we shift into this new frontier of health and wellness, we're starting to see more people care about what they put in their body. And so what we plan to do is target the subsector of the 86 million active users in the US who regularly use these applications to track what they eat by going after the 1.2 million individuals in America who religiously track every single thing that goes into their body. This is how we will establish our brand presence and then expand to different markets from there. Because really what we are at the core of what we do is we're not a hardware company, we're a data company. The data that we collect is extremely invaluable. It's the most attractive type of data, and the reasons that we can implement the data through the use of AI, recipe AI, peer-to-peer social recipe sharing, and real-time diagnostic monitoring gives us the ability to capture a much larger subset of individuals who not necessarily care about what they're eating, but do care about making the process of building a recipe or meal just more efficient in general. And so the path to market capture. We just signed on a lead investor for $125K. We are looking for another 75 at a $1 million valuation cap. And what that will do is it'll allow us to build a pilot run of as many production version units as possible and get them into the hands of as many early backers as possible, as many social media influencers as possible, and as many medical professionals as possible, which will allow us to set the framework to raise our seed round to go to scale. It'll allow us to start collecting the data from the consumer to build out our recipe AI models. And it'll also, more importantly, allow us to get feedback from the consumer directly on how to influence our design to make it perfect before we go to market. And what is all this implementation without a good team, right? So we brought together a really solid team that comprises all areas of expertise and domain to build a successful startup, from nutrition to business to logistics and engineering. And of course, wouldn't be anything unless we were backed by our amazing advisors who have collectively over a century worth of experience building successful startups and bringing consumer electronic products to market. So with that, that's Versaware. Thank you, everybody, and come speak to me afterwards.
Cheer for Jake. All right. Anyone have any questions? Shelley?
Yeah, can you just describe the process of how this is actually working? So if I'm cooking that meal, what
of
goes
course.
into it?
So I take it you haven't used MyFitnessPal before? Or?
I have.
Oh, you have? Okay. So you understand the process of having to do it conventionally involves basically using a phone rhythmically while you cook food. What we've discovered is nobody wants to do that. And so what we've done is we've streamlined the process down to simply one step, which is just letting the device know what the ingredient is. And there's a bunch of ways that we can implement that functionality. What we've done now is simply it's just an API search that we pull from the cloud on an online database. But what we do plan to do is implement the Alexa API through the cloud to allow voice recognition of the ingredient as well, to make it even faster. And we're building that functionality out as we speak. So all you have to do is just basically tell the device what it is that you're preparing at every instant, and it'll track it immediately. And based on the weight of what's in it, it'll show you the real-time nutritional breakdown from fat to calories to whatever vitamins that you want to see in real time as you measure it.
So you can explain that in greater detail. So there's
I'm an engineer.
A weight scale, right?
It's a weight scale built into an appliance with cloud connectivity.
So it's a bowl. I've seen them. So it's a bowl, and every time
we
you
have a
put
bowl
something in it.
and we have a cutting board. And those are our 2 products. We won't focus on building more products because, again, we really care about the data that we're collecting. The data is how we're going to turn Versaware from $100 million to $1 billion company. So, cutting board and the bowl.
Nazar, you got to be chopping the bit. You got a consumer product, connected consumer product.
I'm having a hard time picturing exactly how you use it. I think I followed, but I'm still like.
Yeah. So
do it physically, like show me, without having the product. Show me.
Okay, yeah, let's go to the picture. So,
oops. You gotta
oh,
go back.
sorry, don't see that. Everybody stop.
Unsee it.
Okay, yeah. So if you were making that bowl of spaghetti, for example, right, and whether it's just you building the meal from memory or using a recipe, whichever one it is, you can use our platform to walk you through that process of doing it. So if you started that meal with the spaghetti from the bag or wherever you pull it from, you would notify the device that it's spaghetti, and you'd weigh out your spaghetti like you would, and then however much it is, you know that that's associated with 30 grams of fat and whatever. And you can tailor make the ingredient portion to meet your nutritional requirements.
And you're physically weighing it with these devices.
Yeah, so like a salad, for example, or a cake would be made with the bowl, and then like the cutting board, chicken, asparagus, whatever.
Got it. That's cool.
Yeah, and you just do that. So the whole process of whatever you're doing to build a recipe, you do it with these devices, and in real time you get the information.
How far are you with the app portion of it?
The mobile application?
The hardware is here.
Yeah, so the cool thing about, we have built, I think, about 3 different prototypes so far. The last prototype involved a mobile application because the amount of financing that was needed to develop that was so much less than what it is to build a embedded systems GUI, which is what we're doing now. But we have that funding, and so we're doing that, and we will be done with that entire process of basically taking what we did with the app and putting it on the device in 2 months, which is when we'll ship to customers and start collecting all that data.
What is the question?
Is a dishwasher safe? And
so the cool thing about what we're doing is we actually got linked up with a partner through this accelerator from Israel who builds, they source fallen trees and turn the trees into mulch and mix that with this sort of composite so that you can injection mold basically wood. And so we'll be using that for the bowl and the board. But I think it's pretty common knowledge and standard to know to not put wood in the dishwasher. So we'll probably say that, but we're probably going to lean on the consumer's intelligence a bit for that one.
But what about the electronics portion?
Yeah, so the cool thing about this is we understand that the devices that are in contact with food, or the portions of the product that are in contact with food, are actually detachable. So like this, they magnetically snap into place. So the cutting board you can actually lift off and go wash. Same with the bowl. It lifts off and washes. The device that actually has all the electronics in it is like a stationary unit. And so you snap the appliance onto the base harness, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
And is it battery rechargeable?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So the person, Barbara, that came before you, she wanted to save her back. What motivated you to do this?
And
are you a cook?
I've learned out of necessity to be a good cook, as I have, kind of been in Michigan and realized that I don't have enough money to afford good food, so I got to learn to make sustainable food. But no, the reason that this was inspired was because my co-founder and I were former Division I athletes, and we had a nutritionist telling us what it is that we needed to eat every day. The only thing is he didn't give two craps about how we went about making sure that we followed the information he gave us. So we employed the most common methods, which is MyFitnessPal. And after living in a house with 6 other girls, I know, we realized that the kitchen space just got extremely cluttered at one time because we would be spending hours in there having to work with MyFitnessPal and the food that we're making just to follow our nutritionist guidelines. So we said, screw that, like we're coming all together and building this one smart thing. And that was a year and a half ago. Got the opportunity from Dan about a year and Ken to drive out to Michigan. We did, and been here ever since.
So just one other follow-up. So after everything is in the bowl, then it goes on the stove in a traditional pan, or?
Yeah. So there's the 2 portions of the platform involve like the recipe side of things, which we can literally walk you through a recipe. But we haven't built that model out yet because we're focusing solely on the nutrition side of things. And that's the market we're targeting initially. Okay. Those individuals really just care about like meal prep. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. So preparing your ingredients in the right quantities to make sure that you're not going over 500 calories for the meal, or you're making sure you hit your
salt.
Exactly. There's so many dietary restrictions that are caused by certain health abnormalities, and no one has an easy way to be able to tailor make meals to meet those, aside from having to use barbaric methods like MyFitnessPal.
Great innovative product. Let's give a round of applause for Jacob and Bersuwer. Thanks. Great questions by the judges. Thank you, sir. So we're going to take a short break to mic up Nizar for our fireside chat. But if anyone in the room wants to grab something to drink or in the back room, feel free. Please try to remain quiet, though, because we're literally going to go on to the next section of our keynote speaking engagement with Nazar Akil. So we'll have to get you mic'd up, Nazar, real quick, and bring out some chairs for the discussion. In the meantime, the rest of the judges, if you want to take a break, you can. And we'll bring you back up for the growth stage companies. So while we're doing that, and again, I'll encourage you to keep your conversations quiet as we try to get ready. If I can make a couple, okay, that's that. That's just good. Joining us virtually, just give us a minute or two and we'll get started. Yeah. Yeah. Just outside and to the left. All right, you can just feel free to put it, you can sit there, okay. All right. You mic'd up, all right? All right, I'm going to need everybody's attention. Sorry, I'd love to give you some time to network, which we plan on having a reception after this, but we need, for those that are joining us remotely, to kind of stay on task. Point I wanted to make, we've now had the opportunity to hear from 5 of our earlier stage companies that we've been supporting. We will be hearing from 5 growth stage companies after our fireside chat. And we will be giving you an opportunity, both those that are in person as well as those that are joining remotely, an opportunity to vote for your favorite company. We are not going to show you that QR code now. We're going to wait until all 10 companies have presented, to be fair. But you will all have the ability, both joining remotely or in person, to scan that QR code with your phone. Immediately, 10 companies are going to pop up that have all pitched, both in early stage and growth stage, and you're going to have an opportunity to vote. And those that receive, the company that receives the most vote will receive a $5,000 prize sponsored by Ward Law. But now I'd like to transition into our discussion with Nazar Akil, one of our judges here today. And we didn't have an opportunity to properly introduce Nazar, but Nazar was also a client, a very early client of Centrepolis Accelerator. And we worked very closely with Nazar to launch his consumer product, which we'll talk about here in a second. But more importantly, we're going to spend a lot of time with Nazar because he's one of our most successful clients, and he's learned a lot in this journey of going from an idea to a physical product that's literally marketed and sold in the marketplace today. And we're going to talk about all his entire journey, right, and what he went through, both success points as well as challenges. And the hope that those that are also developing products, especially consumer products, can learn a little bit from those lessons and take those into their business and avoid some of the same obstacles that he ran into as well. So very grateful to have Nazar here, and let's just jump into it. I think it's important, Nazar, for you to first, for those who are less familiar with this awesome product that's been out in the marketplace a couple of years, why don't you explain what it is? Let's start there.
Sure. Just before I jump in, this is probably going to be the abbreviated version of the journey because obviously there's a lot that goes on to getting where we're at. But so I'm very honored as well to be here. So thank you very much for inviting me and for anyone who's here to listen. So I appreciate it. This is a piece of Max Pro. Max Pro is a portable cable system, a gym that's connected, a smart gym. That works with our app. So if I open up this backpack, literally it's a gym in a bag. This is what it looks like with a lot of the accessories that are already in it. And you're like, what the heck is that? And I'm going to let you hold that. Yeah. And this is the Max Pro. I think this is no need. We can just put that to the side now. But a lot of accessories that went along the design of making one product. When we launched Max Pro, we actually launched 12 different designs at one time. So it was quite a lot of work. But this is Max Pro. and unfolds like this. It's about 9.5 pounds. It has this cool little dial that we call the power clutch dial. My previous life in automotive, worked with a lot of cars, and being in the Detroit area and working on automotive, the actual clutch system here was somewhat borrowed and miniaturized for fitness, but it's not too far off from an actual automotive transmission clutch. There's a multi-plate system in here and with friction material and so on. But what makes it ideal for what we're talking about is that that's 5 pounds of resistance right there, and that is 150 pounds of resistance. So together you got 300 pounds of resistance, and you would put the handles onto here, and you would pull just like exercising. You place it on the ground, like she is over here. As you can see, she's doing some workouts. You can do all kinds of lower body. You can do upper body exercises. Then we also designed a bench that goes over it, and then also a wall track that makes basically substitutes for all of the cable machines that you have with the multi-stacks and so on, so you can go from top to bottom. Visit our website at maxprofitness.com to actually see how it works and to learn a lot more about it.
So it seems like we were just, yesterday, you and I were talking about this idea, right? Which is probably 4+ years ago, right? And it's so great to see you be successful in selling these in market. I own 2 myself, and really enjoy the workout. What I love about them is you can take them anywhere on the road, right? And it literally folds up, and I even put it in my carrying case, luggage to take it on the road. Really can work out anywhere, which is amazing, kind of a portable gym. But I'd like you to kind of share your journey a little bit, like from idea, concept to prototyping, and a little bit about that process would be helpful for those in the audience.
Wonderful, thank you. So the idea is actually over 21 years old, believe it or not. Actually, when my second son was born is when I first had the idea, because I was also in automotive. I was traveling a lot for business, and I used to go to the gym quite a bit, and at that time I was like always missing my workouts because I'd be traveling, and then once you fall off, you just kind of you mess up. So it was a way for me to try to keep that routine going, keep the workouts going, and doing just push-ups or whatever were kind of boring, and bands didn't seem to have the same effect as getting a full resistance workout. So it's really simple in terms of what the purpose was. I wasn't trying to change the world, just trying to get a good workout in on the road. But then life got in the way, family, busy, and so I put it on the shelf for like 15 years. So then I had an opportunity when I was actually living in Japan. I had nights and weekends, and I said, wow, it's 15 years later, I still don't see anything like it. I'm gonna just work on it. And so I inched it along to get it to where it's at. And it's important to note, while you see the physical form in terms of the hardware, I didn't mention that there's sensors and electronics that's built in. And I mentioned previously that we have an app that communicates with it, so all of your workouts that you do on the Max Pro is also relayed to this app. So when you're talking about developing a hardware, software, electronics, and app all together at one time, it was quite a complex initiative, let's put it that way.
Yeah, and we met in Czar. We hold regular workshops on how to design your product for manufacturability and reduce costs, and that's where we met in Czar. I'm not sure even how you learned about it, but you showed up and you had a very early stage of that prototype, and we helped support design for manufacturability. You were fortunate enough to have kind of your own really talented engineer that did a lot of the work, where a lot of times we take care of a lot of that work for our clients. But you're successful now, and I'm hoping you can talk a little bit about that. Like, now that you're a successful startup, now small business, just share that experience and what you have to even be prepared for as younger companies are taking that same journey.
Yeah, I think success is relative. An entrepreneur is probably the least confident and most confident, and I'm always as successful as my next day sales. So honestly, whatever I've done in the past is irrelevant. It's really what you're going to do going forward. And it's kind of odd because I've always set the bar pretty low, believe it or not. Okay, I had some very high ambitions or targets, but the next step was actually very realistic and very low, just trying to get to that next level, trying to get to that prototype, trying to get to see if it functions. Okay, well, how can I reduce the cost? And you're right, Dan, I mean, with Centropolis, I mean, we came in when you were also pretty early, and the support, you still provided quite a bit of support on the logistics side, introducing suppliers, also some technical support.
Some funding.
So funding and getting us involved with the proper state grants and things like that, which were invaluable at that time. We were, just in our infancy. But success is all relative, and again, I was valuing the journey, and the journey it was never my objective. Oh, I got to sell 1 million of these or make $1 million or whatever. That was never something that would inspire or motivate me. It was literally the challenge, the everyday challenge of how can I take this to the next level, to the next step. It's really important to appreciate and not get too far in front of, put your vision out there and you feel like you're not successful because you haven't reached that goal just yet. Every day moving this forward was a success to me. So that's kind of all relative is what I'm trying to say.
There's a mental preparedness requirement of each part of that journey, I found, having 8 of my own startups and going through it myself. So I always say one of the most important traits of an entrepreneur is their resourcefulness. And Nazar, I'll tell you right now, you're one of the most resourceful guys I've ever met. And you needed a wide variety of talents to develop this product, right? Because you're talking about, this is a smart hardware connected product, right? You had to develop an app. You had to develop the mechanical structure, the electrical structure, the sensors. Can you talk about how you found all those special talents on your team, direct or fractional otherwise?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm a mechanical engineering grad from Wayne State, and I would say I'm a pretty mediocre engineer and definitely not skilled enough to put all of this together. So what's really amazing about the time that we're living in today is the hurdles for providing or getting something even like this to the market have, compared to 10 years or 20 years ago, have really come down. And we talk about the cost of making a product and et cetera, but not having the ability doesn't mean you don't have the ability to manage a global team and leverage the gig economy where you can. So through Fiverr, Upwork, Guru.com, or wherever that is. This is before Centropolis even. It's like, how do I get the kind of support, engineering support I need? It's important to note that you kiss a lot of frogs before you meet the right prince, and you waste a little bit of money, because I didn't have a lot of money to waste. But I've had several failures in getting the right designer, the right commitments, and then you put a lot of money in, all of a sudden you're not getting the results. So I had electronics design in Bangladesh, in Australia, in Sri Lanka, in Michigan, and and then finally it was like Korea, and that was the one. But the point I'm trying to make is that was just on electronics design, just getting my marketing logo put together. People used to spend tens of thousands of dollars to create a marketing plan and marketing logo and all this stuff. We did a little. There's a website that we paid $50. And there was a whole worldwide competition for our logo. Right? So that piece of it, in terms of being able to leverage global resources because of the internet, because of, well, this is before the pandemic, but even more so now, has just been amazing. You have a Maker's Lab in here. That's a huge advantage now to entrepreneurs to be able to make physical products. That wasn't existent, 15, 20 years ago for people. So being able to create a physical product for cheap or cheaper is another huge advantage. Lastly, social media and the ability to reach millions of eyeballs. What was it limited to before? TV and the magazines and newspapers, and all of that was, the big guys.
I'm glad you transitioned there. I wanted to talk about that. There are a number of companies here, as you know, developing consumer products, right? So can you talk about the importance of that strategy in marketing, especially around e-commerce?
So my background is corporate, automotive, and I had zero knowledge of the B2C space. And probably my biggest learning, because I did product development, I did manufacturing operations, I was much more comfortable in that space, and I always thought marketing was kind of the soft side of the business. Okay, it's important, but not that important. Well, it turns out when B2C and direct to consumer, it's probably 3 times more important than your product, you know, and the cost is a lot more than I ever expected. So, but having a great product does not guarantee success by any means. It could be the best product, and someone who's using it just falls in love with it, but not being able to create compelling visual assets, media, advertisements, not being able to know how to target those audiences, how to measure the result of each dollar spent, and it's an art. It really becomes an art that I'd never even learned even to this point, but fortunately you bring the right people in to help you who really understand and can monitor and see what is working, what is resonating with certain audiences that your product. So that is the biggest thing when a B2C, once you get your product figured out. Okay, if you have enough confidence that you can take this product and to market, and there's a lot of things that give you that confidence, but that is the next biggest thing.
You know, and I think we learned a lot just trying to support you. In fact, that's why I'm so glad you were here today to share some of your stories, because developing a consumer product, having a customer-focused and customer-driven and customer-reactive, business is one that requires a lot of attention. And you really had to do that, right? Can you talk a little bit about some of the strategies you use to get good feedback from customers, to stay connected with them, all the above?
So I mentioned some of the hurdles that have come down in terms of the gig economy, the social media for advertising, marketing, and then also the ability to make physical products for cheap. Now, another one is the ability to test your market. And so we did a Kickstarter, for example, which you're familiar with, crowd funding of an idea. It doesn't even have to be a product yet. Yeah. And what's so great about that is, again, people would spend millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, whatever, to see if this product would resonate with the market. You can do that pretty cheaply at no real expense to you by doing Kickstarter, right? So that was one thing for us to measure if there's interest, enthusiasm. I would say that entrepreneurs, creators, we are all in love with our babies, think they're the most beautiful thing ever, but then we don't understand why no one else loves it, and and that's kind of the risk of being too close to a product. So getting out there, getting your product out there. Some entrepreneurs are afraid, I can't put it out there because then someone's going to try to copy it, or they're going to infringe on or whatever. You got to get it out there sooner or later, and you better do it before you have all that money invested. So when we started actually past the Kickstarter, ready to get the product out, the first thing we did is put our customer service team in place with a proper CRM system, which customer relationship management system, so that when our first product went out, we were able to have the proper customers. And for the consumer product, the product is one thing, customer service is equally important.
And talk about that. That's so important, because when you're selling via e-commerce, you're getting feedback from clients on so many different platforms, right? How do you manage that?
So we have a central system. We've gone through a few. We're settled on one right now that pulls in all customer comments, feedback, posts on Max Pro related to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All our phone calls are, everything's toll free now, but it's our 1-800 number, all our emails, and now we're doing text. So all of those different channels you got to monitor and continuously bring in and have a team that will respond. You have to respond. You have to definitely be responsive. And then there's certain specific replies that save time, that allow you to get through these responses very quickly. And then the voice. What is your voice that you're using with customers? Not just on the advertising and marketing side, but how do you respond to customers is so critical in knowing what your voice is for a company.
And you got great, there was people that gave you suggestions to add this accessory, and they gave you product ideas too, which was great by being really reactive. But I love the story you tell us. Somebody had a complaint about your product and you converted them into like your biggest advocate, right?
Yeah, so
by being responsive.
Yeah, so we launched during the pandemic, and our product was manufactured overseas, so we're trying to, couldn't actually be there to launch. Originally, it was supposed to be manufactured here. It was just a cost issue and a funding issue at the time, but that's still something that we want to do going forward. So with that, we'll have to talk. so definitely, but the point is, we couldn't be at the production side, production line during launch. So you have a few thousand customers waiting for their product during the pandemic. It's a fitness product. They absolutely don't want any more delays. And you're ready to ship, and all of a sudden you recognize that the cable is breaking. I mean, out of a cable machine, the cable is breaking. It was to the wrong specification. But the person that Dan is talking about was an early detractor of Max Pro. He was an ex-Marine. The guy could bench probably 450, and ours goes up to 300. And he posted online, which is terrible for a small company. Not just him commenting, but a video of our bar bending or something like this. And I was like, what we did right is we confronted the issue directly. I was never a public, wannabe. I was never even really on social media. I didn't like to be there, but now I had to force myself to put myself out there and address these things with a lot of transparency. Communication was the number one thing for us. Jumping on the problem, offering a solution publicly, following up on it. And that was when he did it earlier. Then when this particular issue, he was the first one to find out about this cable issue. He just contacted me directly. He said, Nazar, love what you're doing. I support you. I love your product. This is what happened. Again, we had to stop shipment, had to rework all our product. But it was him who was an early detractor who ended up being a strong supporter and made our product safer and better for the rest of the community. And this was very, very early on. So,
and I mean, you couldn't have had worse luck on the launch. So, over $200,000 on Kickstarter, had a ton of people waiting for their product, including me, by the way. I was never a detractor, but I was waiting for my product. And then literally, as you were talking about, as you were about to ship, we had COVID hit, right? And so the manufacturing plant actually was shut down for a while. There was a big delay in getting product out. I remember even following you on social media and seeing some of those comments, when am I going to get my product? But I thought you managed it fabulously. But can you talk a little bit about the next part of that story? Because as product came in, right, every startup that launches a new physical product has some quality related issues. Some are generally pretty minor if they're engineered well and have to be fixed. But can you share kind of what you went through, some of those challenges?
So we have a warehouse in Romulus where we bring all our product. And when this problem became evident, we moved very, very fast. I think we found out on a Friday about this issue. And by Tuesday, we assembled a group of part-time workers to come in, about 12 of them. We set up a whole process line, or production, you won't say product, but a process. And trained, actually it was 15 people, trained them all on how to disassemble these Max Pros, how we're going to remove this. We got new spare parts in from Friday to Tuesday, and started reworking all of this product in the warehouse during July heat in the warehouse. I remember that. And that was actually one of two times we had to do something very similar. So really important to note, when I never felt like we made it, ever. With the Kickstarter was a altogether it was about $300,000. That was supposed to be a top 1%. Never thought much about it. It's just like, okay, past that. We were at CES in 2020 in January, Consumer Electronics Show. We got an innovation award. We had our booth was flocked with people all the time.
Who encouraged you to do that show?
Yeah, you did. You're like, hey, there's one spot left. There's one spot left. I got that one spot left. Man, if you didn't tell me, it could have changed the trajectory of the whole business. But
talk about some of the people that walked in your booth.
What do you mean? Oh, that's right, because that was the first time we met Shaq. He does that walkthrough, and saw him over there, and I said, hey, Shaq. because he walks and there's like an entourage around him. It's not his entourage, but people just follow him, and he's so huge. And I said, hey, come check this out. And he just so happened to be with his actual personal trainer, who's an ex-Olympian, Mr. Olympia contender, Rock Shabazz, and it was perfect. I have a fitness product, got Rock, who's like this, and I said, and Shaq's like telling Rock to check it out, and he does, and he's like, hey, this is legit. And so all these amazing things happened. We were in international press. We got so many awards. I still never felt like we made it because the average consumer who doesn't know me, who isn't vested emotionally in our process, our growth, has never seen the product, has never touched the product, has never used the product. That did not happen until we shipped the product in July, and then even then, didn't think we made it. It was only until October when people who never knew us clicked on Amazon or clicked on our website, oh, I'm going to order this, whatever it is, and finally get to do it, and that's when the first reviews came in. And it could have gone either way. It could have been that or there. Fortunately, the reviews were amazing right from the start. And only then, after 4 years, did I actually breathe a little easier because, again, you got so much more to go.
And you've had an amazing low return on your products. A lot of physical products have higher returns, maybe consumer products around 15 to 20%.
Right.
We're
less than 5%.
Less than 5,
yeah,
amazing,
yeah.
right?
From the start.
And that's one of the reasons Shaquille eventually invested in your company, right? Saw the value in what you were doing.
Yeah, Shaq, so we kept in touch through 2020, the pandemic and all that type of stuff. He invited me down to his house in Orlando in December, which was like, what am I doing here? You know, this is so weird. How this even, this is because of this little idea that came out of my head, and I'm here sitting in his kitchen, at front of his kitchen table while he's filming Shaq's Life. And I mean, I was just like, I don't know, there's a reality show called Shaq's Life, and I'm there and the cameramen are there, and actually they filmed us giving the pitch to him, and he was like, you know what, I'm not gonna take any money, I'm gonna support you, this is gonna be great, we're gonna blow this up. And I just, you guys understand, I'm like, what the heck is happening, right? So, but that's the beauty of the journey. Obviously, everybody's different, and there's different influencers. But he's one of the most like charismatic people you meet.
Nice guy.
So, yeah.
And if you follow Max Pro Fitness on Instagram, he endorses the product and works out with it. And they made an awesome version that's much bigger, and it is gold and purple and LA Lakers style. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I want to switch gears a little bit too to talk about. So, you know, we have, again, a lot of people that are developing consumer products. Can you share with those that are developing consumer products some of the things that were unforeseen, especially costs, things you didn't think about, insurance, other things that they need to plan for?
Well, you know, I think you guys already heard there's some things unforeseen about when you launch, right, and the product. But again, how a product resonates and with which demographics may surprise you. And unforeseen can be a bad or a good thing. You know, for example, when I first thought about Max Pro, you know, I was thinking this is going to be kind of I was male focused, centric, because I was doing it 300 pounds, which is not necessary for everybody. But it's a safer product to use. It's easy to use. You just, I mean, right out of the box. There's no assembly or anything like that. So we were, and probably the most proudest we are about what we've accomplished is that there's so many people with disabilities that are using the Max Pro. It's very accessible. It's easy to use. There's people moving. Even at CES, we saw our first wheelchair user roll on top of the Max Pro. We're like, oh, that was unforeseen.
Yeah.
That was a completely surprise. And now it's being used also for physical therapy. It's not just for people who, you know, want to get big or whatever. It's good for cardio and all these kind of things. So on the positive side, that was definitely one of the brightest things that have happened. On the negative side, as we were just learning about social media advertising, and Facebook and Instagram are really the converters for us. They and Google, they really convert. Apple did, in April last year, they did a security update. They advertise it all the time where the girl's pushing the button and people are disappearing and the ads. Well, that is a very significant impact to a lot of e-commerce businesses. Just when you think you got it figured out, your return on ad spend, like for every dollar I'm putting in, I'm getting $4 or $5 back. That's great from a revenue perspective. All of a sudden that drops to half, and it becomes a business that's unsustainable because of the security update locked out Facebook. And it happened to all e-commerce companies across the board. And all of a sudden you're scrambling because now your margins are upside down, and that was unforeseen.
And you're talking about, and a lot of people have seen that commercial where someone's on their cell phone and there's all these people following them around, and they pushes the button and they all go away. So that was the privacy notice law that didn't allow Facebook and others to track people as well, which made it harder to then
target the proper. If someone's searching on your phone, and you guys are a lot of conspiracy theories, but if you're talking about something, all of a sudden it comes up on your phone, when you're not even searching for it. But the point is, whatever you were searching on your phone, if you're looking at, hey, I'm fitness products, Facebook can see what you're searching, even though you're not on Facebook, right? You're on Google or whatever. So now they just kind of drew a wall behind that and everything like that. So yeah, it changed the whole financial dynamics of it, and really made it quite difficult early on. We weren't even a year into our shipping, right? So and what we thought was a proper equation, financial equation, all of a sudden wasn't, and now we had to figure out how to make it so.
Yeah, so aside from privacy notices too, you got a direct-to-consumer product, right? So you got product liability insurance, things that maybe weren't in the original pro forma when you you put your cost of goods sold together, right? There's a few other unforeseen expenses to your business, I imagine.
Yeah, our launch was, I self-funded this project all the way until, and that's self-funded, including a grant here or there, remember? And so, but, and it's Kickstarter. So that was all the way through until we got through the CES. But it's not because I was like independently wealthy or anything like that. I literally was telling you what I did. And I could probably write a little book about it in terms of how to leverage all the resources you can. I would say not having enough money is never a proper excuse for not developing a product. So now with some like Centropolis, the engineering costs for example, for virology and so on, that's tens of thousands of dollars of that's just amazing support that you can get being able to make prototypes. So, sorry, I didn't mean to plug you, but that is a big deal for a lot of companies. You can always find a way, is what I'm trying to say. But all of a sudden, we're a real company. We tried not to be for a long time, but now you have people working out with something that could fail and could hurt them, and product liability and recalls and having insurance to cover all of that is no joke. And you personally don't want to be liable, right? I mean, you're trying to do good in the world. You're trying to put a nice product out there for people, but you can't always foresee how people are going to use your product, or if they properly install it or properly use it. So, it's
and one of the biggest mistakes we see when we do cost estimating is they focus only on the bill of materials. They don't focus on the full product assembly and testing and shipping and packaging, but they also fail to factor in returns. You have to factor return costs into your MSRP because it's just going to be there. I mean, you're blessed to have a very low return and repair cost. So that's something we try to help people with. I want to talk to the digital side of your business, right? So we didn't really get a chance to talk about that, but even Versaware was up here is developing a similar kind of smart hardware model. Can you talk about that hardware and software line and how you kind of work the digital part of the business into the equation?
Yeah, and I'm just going to touch back on the consumer side you just mentioned with the returns. There's returns and then there's repairs, which you mentioned repairs. And we have a little service center that we put together that we do bring in product. If you look at our reviews on Google or our website, we're like 4.5 and up on all the platforms. And I mentioned that our customer service is like amazing. And that is, if you're gonna build a culture into your organization, even if it's 2 people or 3 people or 5 people or 50 people, and you're doing it a customer-focused, customer-centric approach, I feel like you can't go wrong. I mean, it might cost you a little bit more here or there, 1 or 2 percentage points, whatever it is, but so many people in our reviews talk about the great product, and then they talk about the great customer service. And that is given comfort to people that, okay, I'll try the product. If I don't like it, it sounds like I got somebody, you know, to talk to, and that's really a very important part of the consumer space, in my opinion.
Switching to the digital
app,
side.
yeah.
And, yeah.
So this is also another interesting thing. So hardware, it's very obvious when you see the Max Pro. It's like, oh yeah, it's in your face, but you haven't seen the app. It's not up there. But the digital experience, we call it, is equally important, or if not more important in some cases. Is Jacob who was up here? As Jacob was mentioning, that data, you know, side of it may be more valuable to the actual hardware side. And that was another unforeseen thing, is like, hey, I got this great hardware product. Well, investors, particularly, there's many that are really afraid of hardware. They're afraid of hardware. They don't want to touch hardware. Hardware is hard. Okay, well, it's already produced. It's already ready. It's already being sold. What is so hard about it? Just, you know, you're an investor, aren't you? It's one of those things. And oh, well, is it scalable and all that kind of stuff? Well, yeah, absolutely, and there's reasons for that. But they overly focus, in my opinion, and I think this is kind of being corrected right now, overly focus on the digital experience side. I tried to explain that Peloton, with all its early success and still successful, could not have been Peloton without the actual bike. You needed the hardware to build this electronics platform and all the content. Apple would not be successful and be Apple without its initial Mac or initial phones or whatever it is, and then they build this huge digital experience on top of it. We're exactly the same way. You need to physically interact with something first, and then we build this amazing digital experience. So ours is not limited to, I mean, we have, for example, sensors, and the app, I'd love to show it to you, but it's you know, download it. It's a Max Pro Fitness app on Android or iPhone, and just to see the extent of functionality that we had to build in. And
I mean, first of all, you had to develop the app to help educate people when they look at this, like, well, how exactly can I use it, right? And you built accessories and a bench and a wall mount, and literally any exercise you can do in a gym, you can do with that thing. And so the app was required to even show all the different
library, even just a library at first. But
you've taken it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, we're not Peloton. We don't have a billion classes, but we produce content. So we produce, you know, workout with professional coaches in a LA studio, and that's just the beginning. And then how do you present that content to people as a result? But then, what do you do to make it fun? And the gamification piece, but then we're also doing 2 video games. We already have 2 games done, because the original concept was already supposed to, the original 21 years ago was supposed to connect to a game console and literally have people have fun while they're working out and don't even feel it as much. So now we kept going with that same line. The gaming is a piece of it. I have gaming development in Brazil, for example. I have app development in Venezuela and Mexico. So yeah, it's a global platform that we're talking about here. But the digital experience is critically important, because we also have a subscription model now. And the subscription is monthly. So we have the hardware sales, and now we have the recurring revenue model. We just started that this year after
pre-programmed workouts and other things that.
Yes. Yeah. All of that. Plus we add additional content, additional results. And we're moving into the celebrity side, like, hey, you want to compete against Shaq? Well, this is Shaq's score on this workout, and like, so trying to make it
because they could keep
fun.
track of your reps, the length of workout, right?
All of that, reps.
The electrical.
Yes, and we visualize it in a way where people can understand it, where they can track their progress, where they can improve. And I think the next level for us is how to make it a hybrid social model. Hybrid social meaning, okay, a lot of people go to the gyms. And by the way, we're not competing against gyms. We want gyms to have Max Pro classes. You can have 30 people in a room just like this, all working out in Max Pro, so they can have these studios. And then you'll have a leaderboard, just like Orange Theory, and you can see everything, but everything's relayed from the Max Pros themselves. But Now is people go to gyms because of the social aspect as much as showing off, I guess. I don't know, but the whole thing is that social piece is how do you get people to interact? And so we already have the ability to have two people working out in the same workout and see each other to compete. So that's kind of the next level stuff.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So another thing I'd like you to talk about, because a lot of people that are bringing new consumer products to market, or any product, they often want to jump into every market, right? They want to go B2C, B2B, and you had to really think about that methodically. Where do you start, and then when do you transition to B2B? Can you talk a little bit about your strategy?
Sure. It almost was by default, meaning B2C was the most direct path to consumers. But one thing really important about going B2C is you are in direct contact with the consumer, with the customer, so you can get feedback. You like I had that big problem. If it went through a retailer first, and that I would never have been able to touch that consumer directly. I would never have gotten that feedback so quickly. And that feedback loop is so small between you and the customer. I was answering comments all day long. It was like a 24-hour job. But that was my way. It was a quick feedback loop of improving your product, improving your company, improving your customer service. And that's a really important thing that should not be overlooked. The B2C, though, is, like as I mentioned, through social media and advertising and so on, is the easiest direct path, but it's not always the cheapest. So also we wanted to prove the product in the consumer space before we dared to go to a Costco or a Best Buy or even start an Amazon. We didn't start an Amazon until like 6 months or 8 months later after we've already sold our first one, because we wanted to make sure that we're in control of the supply chain, the logistics. We got it all figured out. The customer service, all the systems are talking. Hey, someone sent out an order. It's going to our shipping. They're actually picking the right product. They're shipping it, and all that kind of stuff.
And another thing to clarify too, when a company like yours goes B2B, it's not always through a retailer, like a big box store, Dunham's. Selling to them, they're generally going to take 30-40% margins, which even impacts your MSRP price, right? You can actually sell B2B directly, right? So you want to talk about what you're doing there?
Sure. We just, my biggest initiative for this year is B2B and B2G, government-wise. And the reason is we were inspired by our customers. So we have a lot of military members that take Max Pro with them on deployment. They bought them. They're taking them on the field. We got these amazing pictures. I mentioned about the disability side or people with physical limitations. We were amazed at how we saw pictures of Max Pro being used on aircraft carriers, with the sea wide open, and they're like working out, with the jet right there. We're like, what? And then we have Navy SEAL. The Navy SEALs have like 15 of them. They've taken them on, but I only hear from their director of human soldier performance. He's a doctor, whatever, in physiology, and he's responsible for training them and their tools. So he was telling me about them taking it to these remote places, and then he's telling me they're in also in nuclear submarines. So, of course, it makes sense. But no, it makes sense. But I never even dreamed
thought about that.
Of that. So the B2G side, we went to 2 military conferences last month. I have very little knowledge of military, so I'm trying to expose myself, understand who the proper ways and channels. So that's one area. And just to plug this in, because this is my actually like a childhood dream or whatever, is just last week I had my first conversation with NASA. So that to me, if it can be in a nuclear submarine, it makes absolute sense in the International Space Station. And they have this huge machine that they, I don't know how many millions it must cost. And you got this little Max Pro that can do the same thing.
I'm waiting for you to post that.
Yeah, that
the
would
workouts
be,
in space.
We'll see. It might take 10 years, but I've been looking for this conversation forever. But lastly, hotels. B2B.
And gyms, right?
And gyms. Hotels, since we started, there were 2 things that we always heard. Oh man, you got to get this on Shark Tank. Like, oh, I don't know, maybe. Did that. But then the other thing is really by a lot of business women, travelers. It's like, oh, you got to get this in hotels. I don't know if you know this, but it's really creepy to go in those small little gyms and very uncomfortable, and if I could work out with something like this in a hotel room. So it's been 2 years, and last week was our very first hotel hospitality conference, which I had 18 one-on-one meetings, which was very productive with hoteliers, chains, and so on. That fortunately, every single one of them said, "Yes, let's talk," because this really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And that's really an opportunity to sell many to a hotel chain, for instance, and be in many hotels. That's good customer acquisition approach to B2B sales for sure. I want to transition because we're actually running on time, but one thing I absolutely would love.
I'm talking as fast as I can, I swear.
I could talk to you all day, but I want people to understand the experience you went through at Shark Tank. So for those that didn't know, Nazar applied to be on Shark Tank and was debuted in December. And actually received an offer for investment through Mark Cuban. And I personally watched it. You were amazing. But there's so much that goes behind the scenes. So, and obviously that's an edited show, so you're probably in front of the sharks a lot longer. I was just hoping you could share the whole experience from applying to down selection and interviews, and it'd be helpful for others that may consider applying to Shark Tank in the future.
All right. I actually did apply in 2020. I got a call in April. I applied October 2020. I got a call in April 2021, or maybe March, I don't remember. But I said, "Oh, it's because of my application?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "What? You don't have my application?" She goes, "No, but we've been watching that your growth and progress, and they have their own way." Yeah, so they actually had their own way of seeing who's starting up and coming. And they say, "No, we do it both ways. We follow applications, and we also do our own research." So I was really like fortunate to get like one step forward, and I'm like, okay, well, throw away my application, I guess. The process was very rigorous. It was no joke. It was like they were investing in you or your company, although they technically aren't, but the show isn't. They asked for numerous, videos. I think the key, and there's some things I'm not supposed to, I don't even know what the limits are, but because you're supposed to not talk about the process, but I can say for sure that they're looking for people who have obviously some proven success or their business. But sometimes you wonder about some of the people they bring on because I don't know. But the point is, then they actually see if someone has the ability to carry conversations, be somewhat charismatic. It is a show, and they want it to be somewhat entertaining and dramatic in some cases.
They must have had a prep session or two, yes?
They have you rehearse, or like normally it's done in live, but it was pandemic, so we did a few Zooms, and I thought I had my pitch down, and I don't know what you call it, not the editor, but the producer, the executive producer, said, "Wow," and this was like a 30 Zoom box, right, with all these people who are going to be running the show, and they're like, "Wow, great product, terrible pitch." And I'm like, what? I thought I did great. And so, you just never know what they're looking for. But anyways, I had to go through several revisions. And one thing is very clear is that all of the work that you're doing, at any point in time, they can just say, "Sorry, you're not going on."
With all that investment.
Yeah, and no matter what, and they did background checks, they did all kinds of things. So.
Now, edited version, it's like 12, 15 minutes. We saw you on air. How long were you really in front of the sharks?
Yeah, my segment was probably around 50 minutes.
50 minutes.
Yeah, but it could be between
That's a long
30
time.
and 2 hours, I guess. But yeah, I was there for 50 minutes, and the way they edited the show was, no one else would know, but I actually said certain things. And I'm like, hey, I didn't say it. Like what? That's not. They kind of changed things a little bit, but. I also spoke with, like, for example, Lori and Robert the most in live, but in the show, like, they were barely a part of the conversation. Mark was giving me the hardest time on the show, and I was actually, really surprised when he decided to, make an offer. That was after Damon made an offer. And that was a funny thing. If you guys want to see it, there was a bit of drama. And so we already re-aired, actually. So that was great. Every time it re-airs, you hear this, you see this bump, and you just know exactly what it's about. So
Bump in
yeah,
sales.
you bump in sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know exactly.
So doing it just for sales and exposure is definitely worth it. But I've seen a lot of Shark Tank, and I enjoy watching it. And I saw this even with you, where people say I'm off the table now, right? And that happened to you, and then there becomes kind of increased pressure to accept the few offers that are out there. So
yeah. When the sharks are out. Yeah. You know what?
Because you were really down to 2 offers, I think.
Yeah.
Right? If I
Yeah,
remember
but the
correctly.
way the show was is Damon was the first one to come in. Everyone was still in. Kevin went out, but everyone was still in. And the other 2, Robert and Lori, only went out when Mark went in. And you didn't
necessarily
pick that up, but they were still in. So I wasn't like, to be, I was gunning for Mark, from the start. So I mean, he's a tech guy. He's into sports. He got the Mavericks. We had Shaquille. Andre Drummond uses our product. It's just we have a lot of cool synergies that we thought would work. So
such exciting opportunity. So I know we need a transition, but I only had one last question for you. You're a natural inventor, man. I mean, even the list of accessories, the features in the apps, I'm just amazed, Nazar. Can you tell us what's on the horizon? Maybe, as way of new products and new accessories, at least those you feel comfortable talking about that you haven't announced yet?
Yeah, sure. I just want to preface that all of this that we're just talking about, Shark Tank, Shaq, all it literally has happened in 1 year. So if I put the scale there, is like this has been a crazy year. We ended up last year, we're now at about 20,000 plus customers around the world. So
total revenue is roughly?
Total revenue last year was 11.5 million in our first full year. And here's another interesting point. We actually lost money. So you're like, how do you do that? That's another time for it. But the point is, it doesn't matter. You guys understand. There's reinvestments and things like that, and you're developing new product.
Put money into those new products.
We're developing new product. We've never been from the start a single product company, which is always a hesitation by investors. Oh, okay, it's you'll make some money and then you'll be done. But we launched multiple products, and then we have a pipeline of hardware and digital products. The digital experience is equally important to the hardware. We got this very cool, first of its kind, as far as I know, workout bench. Everything we do is about a minimalist design approach. So all of our products you'll see have this same design ethos. And lightweight and portability is all part of it as well. So we're trying to stick true to what's making Max Pro successful. In this case, we have this multi-function bench, workout bench that you would see, incline, decline, and so on. But what's unique about it is that you can attach a rowing piece to it. The piece of it moves out, and now you have a seat that slides back and forth on the frame. And you can turn it into a workout bench into a rowing machine. So people can get their strength training and cardio all in one small footprint. And that's huge for a lot of people. Our biggest customers right now are in like densely populated cities like New York, LA, other places where they have minimum space, and they just love the fact. Oh, another cool thing is the RV and van life people. They just love Max.
I wouldn't have thought of that either.
Yeah, van life people. The van life people have like blown up. They're everywhere since the pandemic, and now you have, again, like we talked about the aircraft, you got people posting, working out inside RVs, on campgrounds, and all that. So
yeah, you do a good job of posting that.
Oh yeah.
Following it. Well, I tell you, it's been an absolute pleasure supporting you, and to see you be this successful means the world to us. And our hope is that you can serve as a mentor for others, including those that are here today, and educate and help them, learn from your successes as well as your, some of the challenges you had along the way. So let's hear it for Nazar.
Thank you.
Why don't you get back to, now, one thing I'll say is I wrote an article a while ago, being experienced and developed my own businesses and helping so many entrepreneurs over the years. And I said, if you talk to a lot of people in the entrepreneurial ecosystem that are trying to coach and help, startups, a lot of times they'll say the most important attribute or trait you need to have is to be coachable. and where you're willing to take advice and then pivot and from those that are experts. And I actually think it's way deeper than that. In fact, I wrote an article about this because it's stuck in my mind forever. I really think there's 6 attributes or 6 traits that you need to be a successful entrepreneur. One of them is coachability. 2 is you have to have a strong work ethic. 3 is you have to be very persistent. 4, very passionate about what you're doing to be successful. 5 is very resourceful, like we talked about, and Nazar's been very resourceful. And then 6 is knowing your own limitations and getting help. And many people struggle with that last part. But one thing I will say about you, Nazar, is you really are amazing in all 6 of those areas, and it's a reason why you've been successful. So thanks again for being a part of it, sharing your stories. Now, let's get these out of here, and we'll ask our judges to come back up as we jump into our growth stage companies. Thank you, Shelley. So we're running a couple minutes behind schedule. Apologize. Hopefully you'll catch up a bit here. Those are on the line. Stick with us. We have 5 more presentations, and we're going to have the People Choice Award, and then have the judges deliberate and decide who wins our prizes for today. The first company in the growth stage category, and a company I'm really, really proud of that we've worked with pretty much since concept. A lot of our entrepreneurs actually have an idea for a product when they're at an existing business and they're working full time, especially those that have physical products. And this is a gentleman that was working as an engineer in the automotive industry, came to us and needed help. And I'm very glad to say has a commercialized product with the support of his own team and Centropolis. So Bill, why don't you come up? Bill Schofield with Apt2Build. Share with us a little bit about Apt2Build.
Absolutely. Green button forward?
Yep.
All right, cool. Thanks, Dan. Are we waiting on anybody else? One more.
All right, well, why don't we get started in the interest of time?
Okay.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Schofield, and I am the founder and CEO of Apt2Build Solutions, and we make building simple. Square footage. What is square footage? Square footage is something that people use to entertain, to store, to live. However, square footage is expensive. Labor shortages, skilled labor shortages, material shortages, interest rates, inflation, all of which contribute to an ongoing problem with expensive square footage construction. It's only getting worse. So what do you do with that? How do you make it easier? That's where the problem is actually easily solvable. You build easier, you build quicker, you build modular. In a sense, you Apt2Build. What is Apt2Build? Apt2Build allows you to build a structure with no tools, no hardware, and no experience needed. No hardware, that's right, no nails, no screws, no hammers, no saws, no cutting. You're gonna build fast, you're gonna build strong, and again, you're gonna build modular. Why modular? Because at the end of the day, simplicity in the system comes together with just a simple click and align of a panel. Modular allows you to configure, expand, modify, and at the end of the day, you have an easily built structure that is built by anyone, anywhere, at any time. From one base system, you can create a multitude of applications in different markets: park communities, affordable housing, glamorous camping, recreation, all from a single system. The market is global, absolutely. However, our beachhead is very focused. Our beachhead is focused here in the US, in the park homes and the recreation areas. Why? Because that market is exploding, and they were the first movers to come on board. To the point that we have received, in the first 4 months of sales, we've secured $3.1 million in POs. We are on track to go ahead and close our next round of POs by October of this year in the similar markets. Now, as we expand into the world of the park, homes, and recreation, what we find is that naturally and organically, we are a perfect fit for disaster relief, humanitarian needs, rapid build assemblies that are required in different environments. So with that, we go into our secondary beachheads, which is the humanitarian and the commercial markets. We've already started conversations and contract negotiations with groups, development groups out of Puerto Rico, development groups out of Hawaii, development groups out of the UK, and out of South Carolina. These groups are the ones that we are looking at to establish the contract negotiations, development situations in place, and POs in place by October. Our traction is very solid. 4 months of sales, $3.1 million in POs secured. We're on track to close the next POs in October of this year. We have multiple development groups that have been in contact with us from across the US and now internationally. And these groups are not just kicking the tires. They've flown to Michigan. They've flown and seen our facilities to understand who we are, what we do, how we do it, and how can we help them. And from that, we are now leading into our future POs. Our team is comprised of industry experts from the automotive world in operations, business development, and manufacturing. The leadership comes from the ground up all the way through executive. We also have our additional team members, including licensed structural engineers on staff, who allow us to rapidly do what we need to do best, and we do it in-house. We also have our key advisors, everybody from Centropolis to other advisors through the industry for business planning operations, structure, government positioning, etc. Our current open round is an $800,000 funding ask. We've closed 422 of it currently. We have 150 that's pending, so we are right around 230 that's still available. It is an equity priced round, and the funding is going to be utilized for fulfillment of the execution and delivery of those POs, the customer development and account management. To obviously, the customer service is a key aspect of the business, and then continued sales and continued development. At the end of the day, Aptum Build is the only system that you're going to find on the market today that can check all these boxes. You will build easier, you will build quicker, you will build modular, you will build Aptum Build. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Excellent presentation. Questions?
What's the valuation on the round?
I'm sorry, David?
Yeah, what was the
$4 million pre.
4 million pre is the current one open?
Yep.
Operator, question?
Yeah, is the market you're going after government for these like disaster structures?
It's a combination, actually. What we have found is we did a trade show, our first international builder show earlier this year in Orlando. And what we found is that a lot of the private groups, development groups, have actually spearheaded their way into the government already. So the nice thing about it is we don't have to go through all the loopholes that they had to go through for the past 10, 12 years to get there. They've already done it. They will be purchasing directly from us, but the government is absolutely a huge purchaser of these units.
Great. I'm sorry, Mayor Stiver.
How would these withstand kind of storms we've had or tornadoes? They look a little lightweight to me. Can you elaborate on that? And maybe that's not your purpose.
No, it's a great question. And actually, I like that question because the first response when people do see it is they see single people carrying a panel. How can it be strong? Yeah. Our systems right now are testing over 150 mile per hour winds with no fasteners, no nuts and bolts, no screws, no nails. It's all in our proprietary system and of our IP of how the loads are transferred through the system. So by bringing our engineering talents together, we found a new way to do it that says what does a screw do, what does a nail do, what does a fastener do? And we just found a different way to distribute that load to allow you to have a lightweight system, but incredibly strong.
I'm also thinking about the homeless issue and small homes. Have you thought about that at all?
We have. We've actually, the building group out of Hawaii and the building group out of Puerto Rico and the building group out of South Carolina, they've approached us on both fronts. Humanitarian for the homeless, as well as disaster relief, especially in Puerto Rico on the islands. They have a direct outreach then to Barbados, as well as pretty much the whole Caribbean. So what Puerto Rico is saying is that, look, we need affordable housing, but we also need the disaster relief humanitarian. So we are being approached on both of those fronts right now for humanitarian and affordable housing.
One other quick question. What about the insulation? Is extreme cold or heat, how do they stand up?
Absolutely. So our base model starts at an R12, which most walls in most homes started at an R13 not too long ago. However, that's our base. From there, we can comfortably go up currently to an R25 wall, standard off the shelf, that we can just put in place. Depending on the needs and the environment, we can accommodate various types of models to meet the environmental needs of a location.
Thank you.
I'm passing around samples or cutouts of the structure for you, Bill.
Oh, thank you.
Very lightweight.
Can you talk to the revenue model and the unit economics for sales?
Absolutely. So our revenue model is currently it's being driven by what we're finding in the industry, which is a B2B. It's primarily development groups right now that have found that they already have access to a lot of the areas that this product is applicable. So a lot of our first customers are B2B, where they have the inroads and they have the need for this type of a product. We will eventually, later this year, go into the B2C. Honestly, that's going to be more of that'll be a growth in the future. Right now, our low-hanging fruit and our quick revenue generators were the B2B markets with the primarily development companies that have already penetrated, especially into the government world, with municipalities, cities, state governments, et cetera, where they had a needed solution. This was actually really interesting. Multiple communities around the country, states, have held competitions on how to solve the homeless problem. And now, with interest rates and inflation going through the roof, now they have an issue for affordable housing as well, basically expounding this. So now what they found is that traditional solutions, when you're building a house, is great when it's scaled at a larger pace. But when you try to bring it down to a small scale, the pricing goes through the roof because you can't use the same mentality to build a 700 square foot house that you can when you're building a 3,000 square foot house. You'll never do it. That's exactly the market that we went after. We didn't go after the 3,000 square foot house. We went after that 700, 500 to 1,000 square foot house that's been underserved, but at this point in time is exploding in the absolute need for that market. So with our product, our first entry is B2B. It's an incredibly strong play, and our traction in that market is gaining monster ground very quickly.
And what's the complexity of the product mix? Like sizes of these, numbers of these? We got to move.
No, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah.
And price, like even for just this, well, like how do you price?
Absolutely. So I'm going to address complexity real quick. So complexity, one of the things we did early on, being design engineers from the automotive world, and myself as well, I'm a licensed builder. My family's all in construction. So when we were designing this, it was always designed for the simplicity of manufacturing and the simplicity of assembly. By driving the cost down up front in design, it allowed manufacturing to not have to absorb typically what are bad designs given to manufacturing to say, now figure out how to make it. In our case, because we come from manufacturing and design, we solved it up front. So what it does is it allows for a very easy manufacturing process. It allows us to scale because you don't need a specialized manufacturing platform to make our product. We can take that product, and if we have to scale, we can go to 3 other suppliers and get that same exact product because of the simplicity in our design. Now the cost of it, because we've driven the cost down so much in our upfront design work, we're able to take something, and as you scale it larger, we can start driving a price point down into the $40 per square foot range when our competitors are doing at $97 to $110 a square foot. Now, of course, there's going to be a variation in pricing depending on what type of amenities are going to go into it, you know, different types of features, but we are absolutely far below the competition in our pricing and our availability to do such.
Thanks, Bill. Let's hear it for Bill and Apton Build.
Thank you.
Excellent job. Excellent job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
One thing I'll say about working with Bill is from day one, he was dedicated to developing his business here, sourcing all his raw materials here, components here. And it's just amazing. I mean, one of the arguments I made for the need for a hardware physical product accelerator is there's so many engineers per capita in Michigan, and all of them have ideas for new physical products. And we saw, you know, Czar is an automotive engineer that came up with an idea. Bill has done the same, and we're developing businesses out of it. So very glad to be a partner. In fact, we didn't talk about this, we often take, you know, products like this and we engage our LTU faculty and students to help support either testing, validation, or in this case, in Apton Build, there were so many different variations we could do for different vertical market opportunities. We engage our industrial arts students to come up with a wide variety of concepts that would appeal to those vertical market applications and aesthetic designs and the interior, exterior, as well as accessories built into them. So hoping some of those ideas make it to market. Thanks, Bill, for being here today. Appreciate it. Now I'd like to announce our next growth stage company, Pingree Detroit. We have Jarrett and Nate with the company. If you can't get inspired by Pingree Detroit, then I don't know what we can do to help you. This is a company now that we've been working with for a number of years. I even knew Pingree before my time here at Centropolis. And they take basically scrap leather and other materials from the automotive industry, and they turn them into products, including the shoes I'm wearing tonight. So I'm very proud to say that I'm wearing a pair of shoes that's made here in the city of Detroit. So Jarrett, Nate, come on in. Share a little bit about Pingree Detroit.
Right on. Thanks, buddy. All right. We able to move it? Okay. Slide it over here. All right. You over here. Sweet.
Good evening. Have you ever heard of the veterans and Detroiters all making goods with leather upcycled from the auto industry, from Pingree purses and shoes? Some of you just heard of it right just now from our amazing presenter that opened things up for us. Well, we're going to tell you more about that today.
Hi, I'm Nathaniel Crawford II, one of the team leaders, co-owner and veteran, and also footwear division leader with Pingree Detroit.
And I'm Jared Schloff, co-founder and CEO of this 9-person worker-owned cooperative in Detroit. So since we started our first goods in 2015, we've had over 7,000 happy customers from every U.S. state. Everything from 87-year-old great-grandmas rocking our sneakers to 16-year-olds getting their very first driver wallet. We are truly inspired by how much we've learned from our customers. And today, we're going to talk about specifically our target customers and what their needs are.
You can search online at most pet stores and for our sustainable dog leashes, and you just won't find them. They're made overseas with bad quality. The materials are made out of fossil fuels. They break easily, and they end up in a landfill causing emissions 300 times stronger than CO2. While Pingree Detroit is known for making Detroit's first pair of sneakers and luxury leather goods, we're also diverting seat belts and airbags from the landfill also to create some of the most sustainable pet products in the U.S. Introducing the Junkyard Dog Collection.
Steering wheels are turned into everything from pet ties to dog collars. The vinyl from dashboards are turned into little waist bag holders shaped like little poop emojis. We take seat belts and turn them into dog leashes. And we take airbag material, and we're now turning them into waste bag dispensers.
Yep, Jared, with these pieces of treasure, we can say with confidence, every walk is a car ride. And we're also on pace to exceed our goal of diverting 25 tons of automotive material from the landfill and junkyard by 2025. Waste-free, carbon negative, durable, competitive pricing, and the most comfortable leash you've ever held in your hand are just a few reasons why the 500 leashes sold since last July have come from customer referrals, and we have a customer satisfaction rating of 4.9 out of 5.
That's right, Nate. And every Pingree product purchased directly advances skilled trades training in industrial sewing, leather crafting for the veterans and Detroiters in our team. And we reinvest 77% of our profits back into our workers and back into our organization for innovation.
So invest in sustainable made pet products in the Motor City. It's the least you can do.
Thank you.
Sweating.
All right, I want to field some questions here.
How's the partnership with the automobile industry? Are they just glad you're taking this stuff out their hands,
Well,
or?
Some of them. We've had beauty in it as one of our greatest assets are partnerships and relationships with local businesses. So Ford just did $100,000 worth of leather donated to us and another local organization called Mend on the Move. And they did we had an ABC World News Tonight piece with David Muir, which got us sold out on a lot of our sneakers, got me sold out on the sneaker pieces. I think we're sold out till January as of right now.
And with the automotive industry, so a few parts of the pitch we're going to talk about in the questions, hopefully that I forgot to share. So within our relationships, some is donated, some is purchased. So we're actually diverting their waste streams, so we're saving them a ton of money. And so since our first relationships first began, as Nate said, we divert over 17 tons directly, and some of it comes just to the cost of us picking it up. So yeah.
As well as seatbelts as well, seatbelts and airbags. We were initially going to junkyards, cutting out the junkyard, out of the leash, out of cars, washing them, cleaning them, and then selling it. But we happen to get with a waste stream, the people that do the webbing for the seatbelts.
Now we work with Autoliv, which is the largest manufacturer of seatbelt webbing in North America, as well as airbags. And that also with our next steps, this is a part of us directly collaborating to where we're going to be actually scaling our existing pet products to include other materials like plant-based leather and hemp, and then also introducing new small pet products for small dogs. We've had so much information from customers telling us what they want, especially millennials. So.
This is more of a comment because I really want to see your leash more and your bag more and your shoes more, because I think those are like really compelling on these products. So can you at least mention like how you from a product quality? I understand the process is amazing, the company culture is amazing, the purpose and objective is amazing. So what about the product itself? What are the reviews you're getting on the product, or how does your product really stack up with whatever else is out there?
Oh, okay.
You can feel the leash and the waste bag holder and the dispenser, and then here's our collar, and we'll pass those around.
As far as the sneakers, we get a lot of requests for, we've been getting some requests for custom sneaker pairs. Right now our main staple is a black upper with the black cup sole. So I just wore these to put a nice shine on our company. But these are my custom ones I made with the white cup sole. So it's, as far as the sneakers, it takes me about 2.5 days to make a pair. The customer satisfaction with them, the beauty in making sneakers is it leaves me in a vulnerable position because I'm right there. So when they try them on, I immediately get to assess the problem if there is a problem. So it's a give and take relationship with a lot of customers too, especially a lot of products, and being local at Eastern Market, it allows us to get confirmation from customers right then and there, and testimonials.
And to build on that, both online, so after 14 days of getting the product, you're going to get an email asking for us, hey, how is this? We rated on 5 different points. We're also, hey, would you tell a friend or family member about us? You know, how can we improve? And then we do this again at 6 months, and then every year for every single product we make. So we really want to engage with the customers, find out how can we improve. The reason why we did this dog leash is our folks are saying, wow, you guys ever come out with pet products? You know, and then when we're thinking like, what is another sustainable waste stream we could use? We're like, seat belts, like other parts of the car. We're already using leather, and what if? And so Nate said we started in junkyards, literally cutting these things out of junkyards, washing them in industrial machines, doing all that, and then Autoliv heard about it. They're like, hey, we would love to donate. Can you do anything with these seat belts and these airbags? We're like, well, what can we do with these things? So it's kind of an opportunity to innovate. And then with our customer, Nate said 4.9 out of 5 stars. So literally all the reviews, you go on our website, you see every product, the reviews are right there, you can read them. It's inspiring how many folks just tell their friends. Again, like most of our business comes from word of mouth right now. And so part of that scaling with marketing is how can we tell our story and get in front of new audiences, let folks speak for us. We haven't yet put money into marketing in the ways that are necessary to really get in front of a national audience, other than pieces like we're on USA Today, ABC World News Tonight twice. Those help, over 90 media pieces, but really to tell that story, to really connect with folks, to put these in the hands of people want to buy their son or daughter a dog leash, or the person buying it for their friend or themselves. We really want to let folks know we're out here making leashes with all upcycled materials here in Detroit.
What's the potential of the market, and what is your kind of growth projections going forward?
Yeah, so the current market, as folks might know, is one of the fastest growing segments as far as pet products is concerned. Globally, 230 billion. Specifically in the United States, over 40% of those are just from Americans, right? 6 out of 10 households have a pet. And so what we see as an opportunity specifically, again, Nate said we've sold 500 leashes so far. We just are introducing this out of literally, we prototyped this, did field testing, and literally, you can't buy this yet. You're all getting a sneak preview of the new one coming out of literally airbag material. Currently, it's made by leather. And so with our growth, we're anticipating right now, because our margins, every product in the pet category is under 38%. It's cost of goods sold for wholesale. So we're in 9 pet stores across Michigan, Chicago. By the end of the year, we'll be in 14 new stores thanks to a national partnership. And so we're really leaning on the fact that we want to double our growth every single year, if not triple. And we have the capacity. We're sewing these in Detroit. We've got more folks who want to work than we can currently employ. And so literally, we're going to drive that with demand.
Shelley, did you have a question?
I know that this is a very competitive market, and there are a lot of people utilizing recycled goods. What makes yours stand above all the others?
Yeah, a few things. As a company, we're waste-free, carbon negative, toxic-free. Every piece, when that thing breaks down 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we have a program where you literally will scan a QR code on that product, send it back to us, you get a discount on your next new one, and then we will literally deconstruct the entire thing and then recycle and upcycle and be zero waste. No one's doing that in the market, especially in pets. You just can't find sustainable products to that degree.
And the cup soles on these sneakers, if they happen to wear down, these are Vibram soles. We kind of get away from, want to get the ridges, some more grip. So when the cup sole happens to wear down on you, send it back to us. Fortunately, no one has sent any back yet, so that's a good thing to have, but we haven't met the margin of, for that labor yet. But I would resole on another cup sole when the customer send them back.
All right, let's hear it
Thank
from
you,
Nate. Garrett, Pingree. Good job. So I think I own every Pingree product they make. I got one of their wallets in here, and it's exceptional quality. Some of the best materials that they're harvesting from the automotive industry, and avoid them going to landfill. So glad to have him here, Nate and Jared here today. I'm trying to find out where the clicker is. Maybe some. Maybe there we go. Got away from us. Thank you. So you get an opportunity. You can buy their products online. They also often have pop-ups at Eastern Market and other local venues. So I had the ability in kicking off the program today to talk a little bit about wearology and one of the products we helped develop for Gina Adams, the founder of the company. This is actually the second product we've helped bring to market that she's now selling. And Gina, I talked about the 6 attributes of a successful entrepreneur. She has them all. Really amazing individual to be working with, and glad to be an extension of her team. So Gina, why don't you come up and share a little bit about wearology, bringing the product up. This is what I love about physical products. You pitch events, and people can actually roll out what they're actually selling. Let's hear it for Gina.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Gina Adams. I founded Wearology to restore levels of independence and self-care, empowering people to age in place and regain some dignity. Chances are you've had surgery or you know someone and you understand the physical and emotional challenges of recovery. And there's a ripple effect on our caregivers and our family. And we started out, I don't know if this is going right, developing a device with 4 million catastrophic accidents that require therapy every year. We wanted to develop something to improve access, and it's turned into a much larger problem. $34 billion are spent on patient hospital falls annually, and there's a ripple effect on our on the clinicians, and the strain over the past 2 years have been unbearable. And this is why a mobile device is needed. Stationary bars are located in a gym, and other devices require transferring, strainful lifts, time, and the walkers on wheels are simply unsafe. Our mobile device was awarded with, we were awarded a contract to collaborate with VA clinicians to develop and deliver therapy sooner and safer. Studies show that receiving therapy just 24 hours sooner relates in a 29% probability in shortening your length of stay. Our device folds up and has wheels, and so now clinicians are empowered to deliver therapy directly to the patient's bedside. Patients feel safe and more confident to stand independently. This reduces the strain on our clinicians and helps them regain time, which brings significant savings across the entire healthcare continuum. Our patent-pending device is being manufactured here in Michigan, and we are already meeting with these key healthcare leaders that have validated our product market fit. With 89,000 potential customers, our beachhead market are the VAs that we've met with across the nation who've provided input into the design and have skin in the game, along with the local hospitals that we've met with, and their clinicians can feel the structural integrity of our solution. We sell direct to their hospitals, rehab sites, and skilled nursing, as well as through reputable wholesale manufacturers. And with our team with diverse capabilities, including physical therapists who understand the problem, we are positioned for success. We are raising $2 million. We've achieved the first 250, and now with your help today, we can complete our commercialization, launch a trial demo program, and promote this first-to-market device. Thank you for helping us help improve the quality of life to millions. I'm Gina Adams, and it's a privilege to be here.
Questions for Gina?
The competitive market for, as you mentioned, the more the stationaries, is there also a huge price benefit or value for it, besides the ease of transportation and use from a cost perspective?
Yeah, our retail price is $5,500, and the average price we feel like will be around $5,000 when it's sold. And right now, the electronic devices that they use to lift patients that are actually used for this ambulation therapy are between, they're electronic and some are mechanical, but they're anywhere between $22,000 up to $9,000.
Sorry, quick follow-up. Would you see insurance covering this in the future?
Absolutely. We've met with a U of M professor who specializes in value-based insurance design, and he really is encouraging The home health market is where we see the largest opportunity, even though our beachhead are, of course, where we have existing connections and support. But did I answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you should.
David, you have a healthcare business. You have any questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious, how have the pilot ones gone with VA thus far?
Thank you. We received their outcomes report just this past April, and they were nominal requests for the change. You saw the device that Dan had showed earlier, but this is our actual commercialized device. And things that we've already had pointed out when we delivered them, they basically reiterated that, and they're very excited about it.
What was the pre and post money valuation on the 2 that you're trying to raise?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
What's the pre and post money valuation on the $2 million that you're raising?
Well, pre was $2 million, and our post is about $10 million is what we're evaluating the company at now.
How easy is that to set up?
I'm so glad you asked because I wasn't able to point and do a demonstration, but I do have 1 minute, right? You're my timekeeper?
Yeah.
Okay, since the timekeeper is here, we'll make it really quick. Thank you. But the idea is, as hands-free as possible, and to help patients, whether they're in a home or this was originally designed for quarantined patients because they were literally suffering from immobility in their room. And so now patients can either, administer at home, so again, people can age in place, or if you are in a skilled nursing center. And it's really, since we've been meeting with clinicians here, it's been challenging because of COVID restrictions, but the patients really, the clinicians that we've met with, such as Beaumont, they have equipment closets on every floor. So we're looking at getting one, and then of course, they'll have one on each floor. So instead of measuring hospitals by beds, we're not measuring it by floors in terms of how we have projected our 5-year forecast.
That's really cool. Boom.
That was less than a minute. I don't think the time.
In heels, too.
I noticed that you have sizable biceps, so you've been using this.
Yes, it does fit in your car, but through the commercialization, we're actually looking at reducing the weight. That was one of the pointers from the clinicians right now. We shaved a comparable stationary set is 130 pounds. This is 70, and we're going to get it down to 60 with material analysis.
What are current sales? And you mentioned a IP pending
Yes.
patent.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that and timing?
Current sales are around 80,000, and the patent pending, we're converting this month in July.
Domestic and international? Just
Absolutely going global because nothing else exists. And you think of European small confined spaces, I think it's going to be a home run. And with our previous product, we already have channels in Europe, but we'll be filing our CE mark next year.
All right, well, let's hear it for Gina and Wearology. Love this product. This is one we were particularly proud of. You'll notice a lot of off-the-shelf components. We had to keep the weight down as we get into composites and other ways to lightweight it. These outboard riggers that go in and out are mostly for stability and to avoid tip over. But we did the FEA analysis on this to ensure we had the right strength and materials to handle very heavyweight patients, for instance. And this off-the-shelf component right here is a stadium bench, 2 stadium benches next to each other. The way to reduce cost and still use best-in-class materials to help get into low-volume production. As we get into high-volume production, obviously, we'll be working on a custom design for the flooring system. Great, thank you, Gina. Yeah. 2 more growth stage companies and clients of ours that we're particularly proud of, again, have product in market. Rakesh Kajagada is probably one of the most amazing, PhD scientists that constantly develops products. In fact, I met Rakesh when I was running Next Energy and helped him take a sensor-based technology to market that was very successful and sold to a major market player. So, Rakesh, we're really interested to hear about Celsius. Come on up and tell us about it. Right?
Thank you, Dan.
Hit the green button to go forward.
Hello, my name is Rakesh Katragada. I'm the CEO and founder of Celsius. It's a nanobioware technology. Actually, COVID inspired me to develop the product along with my dog, which died of cancer. And I had 2 kids. When they told everybody had to use a sanitizer, I was just, all hell broke loose. So, I mean, pretty much according to the US CDC, an average US adult has about 212 chemicals in the bloodstream. So today, you go to a lab, test your blood, you'll have 212 toxic chemicals in your bloodstream. They say it's benign, but over a period of time, they all add up. Typically, any chemical right? Cleaning and disinfection. You see the label kills 99.9% of the germs. It's false marketing. Don't believe it. There is a catch to it. You have to put alcohol on your hand for 5 minutes to kill 99.9% of the germs. And if you go back home today, you use a dishwasher, you have the scent. The more it smells good, the more toxic it is because they use phthalates. And it's a known fact, phthalates cause cancer, right? And so I came up, so the solution was, how do you do this? I mean, you've seen the word organic, natural, but the problem is they're expensive, takes time, and they don't work, right? Because we human beings want everything to work within 3 seconds, right? So that's what the product was. Based on my experience at the University of Michigan, where this is my 4th invention, the idea was to combine both acids and bases, the cleaning and killing, in the same liquid. So based on that, extensive testing with FDA-approved labs were done. The kill time less than 30 seconds. I mean, take even Clorox, for example. It takes about 4 minutes. So imagine putting Clorox, disinfecting. That's when 99% works. Otherwise, it's 40%, right? So that is why there's a reoccurrence of viruses, a lot of false marketing, and there's no true product. So we have 2 models, primarily B2B. So if you go to any bar and restaurant today, like J. Alexander's or any of these restaurants, you see a bar glass. Actually, they're using Celsius product in there because we are one of the largest retailers we're working with. Second, we also have working with a lot of companies overseas and here. We have about 18,000 gallons we produce today, close to about 120,000, going to about 500,000, just B2B. And in B2C, which is very dear to me because I lost a dog to cancer, I mean, there is no product today. 70% of the dog ear infections, pets, what is banned in humans is applied for dogs and pets because they're deaf and dumb, they cannot talk, they cannot complain, so we just dump it in them, right? So we are the first and the only dog ear infection product in the world today. We have launched in Amazon, Walmart, and about all the B2C markets. We have about 20,000 customers, growing about 100 customers every day. If you Google any dog ear infection, PetBro comes up. This is a case study here locally. This is hydroponics facility. You can look on the left is algae growth. It took them 1 week, 4 people, and toxic chemicals to clean it. With Celsius BioWater, it was less than 1 minute. That's how good the cleaning was. So again, true to the message, no false marketing. What is on the label works, right? No misleading things. And thanks to Dan and the funding stuff, it was very awesome. So like I said, COVID inspired me, my kids and my pets. But I think we would go to produce about 50,000 gallons in the next 1 year. We'll have, go to any, like I said, go to any bar, restaurant, you will see Celsius, pretty much. And we have some amazing value proposition that ultimately you can have a fantastic product, but if it's not inexpensive and the customer doesn't like it, doesn't sell at the end of the day, right? So it is a truly organic, natural product with zero chemicals in it, absolutely no chemicals. And it works as promised. We'll be launching a lot of other commercial products as well. I mean, the market is massive. People told me, we're not going to compete against Myers or any of those right now, but there are a lot of specialty cleaning, specialty chemicals that we can use, like in hydroponics, industrial cleaning, agriculture equipment. I mean, it's a huge market, like close to about $90 billion. And I have about 4 inventions I've published all over the world. I'm a scientist, and also had a Shell Innovation Award in 2017. This is my 4th invention. I also have Jane, who is a former Amazon VP, and Lori Paciano. And she had a company called High Maintenance Bitch. That was a former pet company she had, and we brought her on board. So thank you for your time today and listening to me. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Questions from our judges?
How much does a bottle sell for?
So the bottle retails for $18.99. That's the bottle you see there, here on the table.
This?
Just to give you an example, but we have about 40 products.
Okay.
Yeah. So I developed, it's a painkiller, right? We develop a painkiller or a vitamin, so I ended up developing a painkiller.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned FDA lab testing.
Yes.
Was there an approval or pending approval or some clearance required for use of the product?
Yes. So typically there's EPA and FDA, they require certain testing to be done, and we have done all the testing thanks to Centropolis help and the funding of the third-party testing. Correct.
Awesome.
Azar?
I'm sorry if I missed it. This is all IP protected?
Yes.
I mean, you had
Yes.
that IP. So what would be, like, there are some natural other products out there and so on, but I don't know about their effectiveness. So can you tell us a little bit more about not the harsh ones, but more the natural? What are the competitors that you have?
So I can challenge you that there is no natural product in the market today. It's false marketing. So when you look at a product, it says coconut based. It's only 1% is coconut derived, 99% is a chemical extract. And you're familiar with essential oils, they say it's good, but essential oils have alcohol in it, which is toxic. So we are the first, because the problem is we want in a bottle, small, inexpensive, so they end up adding preservatives, right? So the beauty of the bio water, which we have developed, is the plant ions can survive for 2 years without any chemical intervention. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, it's 100% natural.
And so you're saying there's no direct competitor from the
No.
natural perspective?
That's right.
And whatever the special ionic piece about what you do is patented?
Yes, correct. And the true nature of the natural product, I mean, if you look at dog ear infection, there is nothing exists. There's no natural product at all. Yeah. And you can look at the reviews. I mean, people have said within 1 use, the dog stopped scratching their ears. And in human beings, shampoo, I mean, we lose our hair so much is because, there's fungus in our hair. There's no shampoo that can kill fungus, right? So we keep trying to use all these different shampoos. So we're coming up with the shampoo line as well, which is truly antifungal, anti-dandruff based. Yeah.
Really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
What are current annual sales, and what does $10,000 if you won do for the business and you?
Great question. So the $10,000 will help us in advertising on Amazon and Walmart about the product. That gives us about 5x of, so $1 spent on ad gives us about 5x in revenue. Yeah.
And what were your sales, you said?
We had about 120,000, but we'll be doing about $250,000 this year. And it's profitable, 70% profit margin. Yeah.
And those are direct to consumer, those sales?
Correct, yes. So one bottle costs about $2 to make, one bottle, and we retail it for $19. So we have about $15 in margin.
Although you should talk, some of your products in some vertical markets you will be selling through others, like the bar manufacturers.
Correct. So like Dan mentioned, we also sell a machine. So you go to a bar or restaurant, or a hospital, for example. Hospital, I was shocked to find the GI scope that they use in the hospitals, they're not clean. So from patient to patient, it's a ticking time bomb, because have you heard of hospital-assisted infections? The biggest infections happen in the hospitals. So it's better to stay out. I mean, once I figure out, I want to stay away from hospitals as much as you can, because there is nothing that can, even a screen the doctor uses, they don't wipe it, it's not disinfected properly, because nothing works. So imagine putting alcohol on a TV screen for 5 minutes, that will burn the screen, right? So this is a true natural, it doesn't burn, it's non-toxic. We have done skin safety tests, and it's proven to be safe on the skin as well. Yeah.
Have you proven the 5 to 1? Oh, have you proven that 5 to 1 already?
Yes.
So on the 120 you've done, those were DTC sales that were?
Yeah, I have the data on
Facebook, Instagram?
So Amazon and Walmart.
Amazon and what else?
Walmart.
Walmart.
Yeah.
on site.
On site, correct, yes. Because it's a painkiller, like I mentioned. Like people, there is no product. Everybody has if you have a pet, it always keeps scratching. There is no solution, right? Within 2 minutes, it'll stop because the dog's ear has yeast, fungus, bacteria, and virus. It's a melting pot of anything you can think of, right? So imagine putting something in the ear, and then you have 2 layers of skin. That's why only in the United States, 70% of the dogs have cancer. I mean, the rest of the world is only 1%, because we put all these chemicals in the ears, and that goes right into their intestine. Yeah.
So sorry, you're doing pet products like ear spray,
correct.
And then you have other
consumers,
verticals,
correct.
Like house cleaners. Is that
yep.
was that
yep.
hospital?
House cleaners, shampoos.
Shampoo. Okay, so I was getting them all confused. So okay, shampoos, house cleaners, potential hospital antiseptic of some sort.
Correct. That is the D2C. We also have B2B, which is like hospitals, bars, and restaurants.
Glasses.
Like if you look at have you heard of the word beer clean glass? If you ever drink beer, you'll see the glass. If you don't see the froth, that means the glass is infected with bacteria.
So
if you Google beer clean, sorry.
So is there, with the 250 sales this year, and all of these different market segments, are you just starting to access these markets?
We just started sales. So there's been a year since we launched, and we hit close to 300,000 in sales.
In which vertical? That mostly.
So
Bars?
150 was in the B2B, like in the beer glasses and stuff like that, and the other 120,000 is consumers, so in shampoos, pet products, stuff like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, join me in thanking Rakesh. Thank you, sir. Good job. And thank you for your patience. We're down to our last pitching company in the growth stage section. And I talked a lot about how engineers come up with ideas. AJ Kumar is no different. In fact, I have a tie back to AJ where him and I worked in private industry for a vehicle design engineering firm. And AJ was the most talented engineer, one of the most talented engineers I've ever worked with, and came up with this idea for a lot of good reasons. And I'm so happy to say that he is doing it here, right here in Southfield, and made his dream true and is selling products. So AJ, come up and talk about Pareto Aluminum Systems. Hit green to advance.
Okay. Already feeling privileged to be here. So I'm an engineer. I'm a CEO of Pareto Aluminum Systems, and an engineer who is slowly fermenting into a businessman. So some time back, I was working for a company that used to be van converter. And the problem that Pareto Aluminum, I started this company in 2019. And the problem that we are solving is basically it takes way too much time for van conversion for wheelchair vans, basically. So normally it takes almost a week with cutting, grinding, bending, painting. It takes almost a week to convert a van, and whatever comes out of it is actually not flexible. So if there is a person on wheelchair and he wants to sit in the front of the vehicle, he cannot, because there's a designated seating position. That's where he has to sit. And similarly for the seats, so you can't move the seats and wheelchair around. And plus this industry has a lot of regulations that van converters has to meet. And these are small manufacturers who does not know too much about Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. So there is always a fine line where they are operating their business. So we started in 2019, approximately raised $300,000 in capital, and in 1 year we designed, engineered, tested, tooled our product and started selling it. What we came up to solve this problem is a 13-panel solution. You can snap it together and install it in a few hours. And you get the flexibility. Now a wheelchair guy, this morning he wants to sit in the front of the vehicle, he can. It is lighter. It is 25% lighter than the lightest flooring system available in the market. This is the time of electric, so we are seeing a really good traction for our product. There's absolutely no fabrication. You buy a kit, our customers buy a kit, and they install the panels without any problem. It's absolutely zero fabrication. So who are our customers? Anybody who is building a van for government transit authorities, hotels, non-emergency vehicles, they are our customers. Now, it's not that we are the first one to the market. There have been 2 other companies who have been selling. All of them put together could not increase the market share more than 10% of the flexible flooring system because of many reasons. They were only marginally better than plywood and steel. We are exponentially better. They could do an installation in probably 2 days or 1 day. We can do it in 2 hours. We are 25% lighter than them, and we have less than 50% less parts than them. So the idea is to take this product to the next level. And there are some very key, unique selling features which basically propel our growth. And just recently in the Corona time, we grabbed 5% of the market. Just last year, we sold 51 tons of aluminum in this industry. Very special key features is that we don't even have to glue because other flexible flooring systems have to. Not gluing saves cleaning time, curing time, priming, etc. And then there are some very cool accessories that we came up with, like you see the seat. We have a slider base. Install a seat. You can slide the seat forward and backward on the track and lock it in its place wherever you want. There is nobody in the world who has this. So me being CEO, I'm supported with, so I'll just go straight to the traction. We have 3 patents, 2 trademark, $1.5 million in revenue till date for this year. And we have multiple government contracts that we have secured for 5-year time. Total approximately $15 million in purchase orders that we have right now, and we are ready for the next growth. Thanks.
Thanks, AJ.
AJ, are you guys just selling the parts, or are you guys doing the installation as well, the parts and the installation?
So we are selling only the parts.
Okay.
We are engineers basically. So we engineer the parts and we help our supplier to make it with quality, to control the quality at the supplier end. Then it goes straight from our supplier to our stocking distributor, and they basically distribute the part in the whole US.
David?
Yeah, what was the 15 million you mentioned at the end?
So 15 million is towards the, so first of all, during last 2 years, there has been very less vehicle built. Our customer don't have the vehicles to put this floor on. How will they buy, what will they do with our product? But we could still sell approximately 600 vehicle floors. And that would mean that it's not the 5% of the market, it's a lot more than that. So there is a solid commitment from the customers, and we have basically 5-year orders from the government as well. But there are no vehicles to put this flooring system on. Where will they put our floor? So our customers are waiting for the vehicles from Ford and Stellantis. As soon as they get them, we are just sitting on the edge right now for the next step in growth.
Can your product go into cars that are already in production that are like used cars? Can you refit, retrofit other vehicles?
So this product especially, you see that vehicle standing over there, ProMaster, white color? Mm-hmm. That's the vehicle it has to go in. That's the vehicle where 2 or 3 people in wheelchair wants to get in. So you can install this floor in a few hours, and whether it is a used vehicle, and that's how we have been driving this sale. We have most of the time, 50% of the sale is basically on the used vehicle. We are trying to sign up. Today I got a call from Australia. They want to be a distributor of our product. So as soon as vehicles start coming, we will see very solid growth. So not only just the floor, we are adding more accessories to increase the revenue per floor. We are going to launch a wheelchair restraint system, which our customer sort of pushed us to develop. And that is going to increase our per floor revenues by 25%.
What are the additional staff needs in particular, and what would $10,000 do for you in the business?
So honestly, we don't need money right now, but what will $10,000 do? for us is that we will invest in a lighter restraint system. Now, we did not bring that restraint system, but a wheelchair has 4 restraint systems, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. And most of the time, the people who are basically driving this vehicle are not too young. So it's like this much weight, like approximately 3 kilograms, 6-7 pounds. So one thing is 6-7 pounds. So if you accidentally drop it on your foot, it gets hurt. We want to reduce the weight of that vehicle with a new special alloy that we have recently developed. We are testing that right now. So we will drop that weight to 1/3. We have a prototype at our Southfield facility. And when you hold these 2 things in your hand, you will really like it, means you need it. The drivers who are putting these, we always have a lot of empathy with the wheelchair passengers, right? But we also have to have equal empathy with the people who are basically helping those wheelchair people to tie them to the floor and then untie them, take it out of the vehicle. So though it is going to tremendously help those people to do their job well. They will be less frustrated because they don't have to carry this much big hunk of load and then restrict them at 4 places, these wheelchair people. So I'm going to invest that money over there.
Thank you.
Nazar?
What was your motivation, inspiration to do this?
Okay, you want to hear a short version or long version? Okay,
We're running a little bit behind time, so let's truncate it a little bit.
So, see, a person who is sitting in a wheelchair does not deserve to sit at a designated seating position. If I'm in a wheelchair, my grandfather used to be on a wheelchair, and I spent all my childhood with him. Why is a person who is sitting in a wheelchair is supposed to sit in a bus right over there and always over there? Today he wants to sit in the front, why not? And our flooring system, you can have just 10 minutes to change the seating plan and wheelchair plan, you can have a new configuration. You don't want seat, take the seats out, put a bed in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, one last question.
I was just going to ask, who did you mention again as your primary customers? I thought I heard you mention hotels.
Yeah, so primary customer is basically, there is a General Service Administration, GSA.
Yep.
Government puts out this probably like 5,000-6,000 vehicles, and they buy from different van converters and they deploy these vehicles at non-emergency places. And they are also goes to living communities where there are people in wheelchairs. So for some reason, so I'm going in off topic, but living communities, churches, schools. But imagine we are in a living community and there are 2 people in wheelchair, and you buy a van with 2 people, right, in wheelchair, and only 3 seats. Now tomorrow those 2 people are healthy again and they don't want to go on a wheelchair. I should be able to put more seats over there and get rid of the wheelchairs places. And if there are 2 more people who come in the wheelchair in a vehicle like that, they should be able to put more wheelchair. So they deserve that flexibility. So this solution was there in the industry, but the price was like 3 times before. We are a very profitable company. We have solid margins, but yet we are offering this product at a price where it can directly compete with plywood. And plywood and steel, they rot over time, right? So, but this will outlast the vehicle that is built by Ford. And this is what our customers say. There's a video that we have not paid our customers to say that, but they say themselves that this is going to outlast the vehicle.
Great. Let's hear it for AJ Celsius. Good job, buddy. So I tell you, man, it really warms my heart to be able to showcase these incredible companies. For too long, I think we've been trying to celebrate software companies, app companies, and we really lost our sight of really what makes Michigan and the Detroit area so powerful. We like to talk about, oh, we're best in class in manufacturing, but if you really pay attention to our roots and what we're good at, it's the product development side of manufacturing. Driving out costs, complexity, ensuring that the products are going to be durable, reliable. We really are best in the world at it. And now that we have an organization like Centropolis that can help support these ideas, keep them developed at low cost and ensure they get to market and made right here, we'll have more great businesses. Not every one of these businesses are going to be venture capital backed, but they're going to be damn good businesses, hiring people, putting people to work. And what's beautiful about it, if you paid attention, many of these new products are also helping people with disabilities by the invention itself, right? Or avoiding back-breaking work and things like that. So just excellent products that we can be very proud of supporting. So thanks to everybody here today. Let's hear one more round of applause for our early stage and growth companies. It's going to be very hard to decide. They each deserve an award, but right now we're going to have the judges deliberate over in the back room, and during that time period, about 10 to 15 minutes, we'll also be showcasing some success story videos examples of work we did with clients. So if you want to stay in your seats or grab something to drink, we have that ahead of you. But I also want to thank our judging panel. And Nazar, it had to be great to be on this side instead of the other side, right? But I want to thank David, Nazar, Shelley, Mayor Cyber, Papa, and Paul. Let's hear it.
The judges are.
We already did, yeah. So let's hear it from them. Yeah, when we kicked it off, we did that. So thank you very much. And we'll send you over there. And I'm going to ask Riley to come out to entertain us through this next section. So.
Alrighty, everybody. I know, once again, we want to get moving, stretch your legs, but I do want to let you guys know that we are opening our People's Choice Award poll right now. So please scan the QR code or go to www.poll.si and use the code FYPP to vote for your People's Choice Award. So we're going to leave this up for a few minutes for you guys. Place your votes, and then we'll get those success stories going. So. Hold up. Yep, go ahead.
According to the CDC, an average US adult has 212 chemicals in the bloodstream. How? From everyday products that we use. My ultimate goal is to make a difference in the way we use products, at least without using harsh toxic chemicals. My name is Rakesh Katragada, and I'm the CEO and President of Celsius Corporation. I'm a scientist in my brain, but animal lover in my heart. And when I had my pet die of cancer, I wanted to do something for my dog. So that's where the journey started, having a natural product. Hey, Dan.
Good to see you, my friend.
How are you?
Rakesh has this amazing material. It offers disinfectant capabilities. It offers cleaning capabilities, and our role is to help support him in bringing that product to market. So we worked really closely with him to develop an entire line of products that would be a cleaning agent for pets, and then reaching out to pet stores and pet media to help get the word out and get his product in stores to be purchased.
Taking it from a lab environment to commercial scale is a whole new ballgame. It's not easy. So Centropolis helped me to accomplish that goal. Ever since we got with Dan, and now with his help and Centropolis, I can probably say we have close to 10,000 customers now. We're also selling internationally. We have close to 250,000 sales, and we're growing rapidly in Michigan, and thanks to Centropolis and Dan.
One of the values that we provided Rakesh and Celsius is actually bringing not only expertise and people to be an extension of his team, but to also bring in cash and support. So we provided $60,000 in funding to help support business and technical milestones to ensure his product could go from an idea to actually being in a market. It's a product that we can be really proud of. It's an all-natural cleaning agent. There's so many chemical products that are in market today. To have natural products that do as good job, if not better, as a cleaning agent is something that the world needs.
I'm Gina Adams, the founder of Wearology. We develop proprietary hardware to restore independence and empower people with physical challenges.
Gina showed up at one of our workshops when she had this idea for a magnetic button adapter for shirts where people that have lost the dexterity in their hands could easily dress themselves. So what we brought to her was product development and manufacturing expertise. Many people like Gina are great entrepreneurs, they have great ideas, but they can't often get their idea to the right price point. So that's one key element and service offering that we brought.
We developed portable parallel bars as a call to action by a skilled nursing center that had residents suffering from isolation. The VA found out about this and were so excited because they too realized this massive problem of people not having access to physical therapy. We're very fortunate to take an idea that was a napkin sketch to the Lawrence Tech Centrepolis Accelerator, who handed this idea off to world-class engineers, and they were able to develop a prototype that we then delivered to the VHA Medical Center in Richmond, Virginia, and we were awarded a contract for 100 units. There is not a chance that we would be here today without the Centrepolis Accelerator and their support.
Centropolis is the center of development and a first step towards bringing that idea of yours to market and seeing that it's made right here in Michigan.
My name is Sean Gaden. My title is co-founder and CEO of Intercells. As the name tells you, we deal with battery cells. We have a groundbreaking technology to change how batteries are made.
Our machines produce the battery coating, and we can do it more cost effectively than traditional processes. This is cutting edge research.
Our process is a single step process. We start with the materials, we finish with the battery. all in one step. We're working on a unique approach in the sense that we are focusing on cost reduction, carbon footprint reduction, performance improvement.
What's amazing about Intercells is they've really developed a revolutionary technology for manufacturing lithium-ion batteries. What Intercells offers the industry is a lower cost battery that ultimately will make anything that's electrified, including electrified vehicles, lower cost and higher performance. We started working with Sean and the Intercells team about 4 years ago and worked very closely on business strategy, including helping line up customers, strategic partners, suppliers, investors.
Dan was such a great mentor. Since day one, Centropolis has been my biggest supporter and our first home.
One of the needs of every startup company is resources. What Lawrence Tech can do, and particularly with my lab, is we have equipment. I can bring students to the conversation as well, and I have experience in this area. Intercells gains because we have the ability to do independent testing for them. As a result, we can publish our work, and that elevates the reputation of the university. It substantiates the work that Intercells does. So it really is a win-win situation for everybody.
Centropolis is one of the few incubator programs that work with manufacturing technologies to help those companies through their technical milestones. It's actually been an absolute pleasure to be an extension of the Intercells team, and we're very glad to be a part of their success. Hello, welcome to Centrepolis Accelerator. I'm the director, Dan Radomski. Come on in, I'll show you around a little bit. So this is the space as supported by our partners. We are on the campus of Lawrence Tech University. We're also funded by the city of Southfield through Smart Zone support. We also have funding through Michigan Economic Development Corporation and Eagle and New Economy Initiative. As you can see here, as a co-working space and product development lab, it really gives a great opportunity for anyone that's bringing a physical product to market or advanced manufacturing process, an opportunity to create, develop, and bring their ideas to market. We regularly have major events, workshops, and training that we host here, including later on today. And then this area is generally our co-working space, where we also have a Zen booth for private conversations. Anyone that occupies space here at the Centrepolis Accelerator has unlimited access to our meeting rooms. We have a couple different meeting rooms that can be one giant meeting room or separated into two. Here you'll see a showcase of some of the products from our clients, including a company that's developing leather goods manufactured right here in Detroit. You can see we have consumer products and a wide range of products that literally would have made it difficult to market without the support of our program. Welcome to our dedicated office and desk space. So those that are looking for a traditional office or private place to work also have options to work here at the Centrepolis Accelerator. So welcome to our product development and prototyping lab. So as you'll see, there are many tools that can help physical product developers with prototyping to test and validate before they take their product to market. We spend a lot of time with our clients helping them design for durability, for reliability, and for cost reductions, which really makes our accelerator unique. So here we have some traditional prototyping tools for machining and manufacturing a wide variety of materials. So we can billet machine metals, plastics, a wide variety of materials on these machines. If you want access to these tools, you can be trained to use these tools and develop your own product, or you can use our staff, including our lab manager, to help develop the prototypes on your behalf. Thanks for stopping by the Centropolis Accelerator. If you're interested to learn more, go to michiganbusiness.org/entrepreneurship.
Just a reminder, everybody, if you haven't voted in our People's Choice Award poll, you have another few minutes to do so while our judges continue to deliberate. So please, if you have not voted, vote in the People's Choice Award.
Fred, come on up here. All right, so we're going to get restarted. For those that are joining us remotely, thanks for staying on the line. Again, want to congratulate all of our companies. Wish we could give prizes to every company that's in this room. Doing an amazing work, and we're so proud of your efforts to develop a business and manufacture a product in Michigan. So again, I want to thank New Economy Initiative and City of Southfield for sponsoring this Southfield Evolution Lab and Micromakers, which has made these services, including this funding, available. And I also want to thank Ward Law, who also sponsored this event, specifically the People's Choice Award. So thanks for those that voted, both in person and online. We had many votes, and unfortunately, only one winner. And I'm going to let Fred with Ward Law present the check. And
okay, great. Thank you. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. It's great to see all these great ideas, all this energy and passion. Just keep at it. It's wonderful. It's my pleasure to announce the People's Choice Award to Versaware.
all right. Congrats. Congrats. Thank you, Dan. Congrats, Creed. Come on up, and we're going to get a picture holding the check. Great. Congrats, guys. And then we're going to start with the early stage company awards. Again, we had 5 incredible companies, some from City of Southfield, some from Wayne County. And I'd like to have representatives from the City of Southfield and New Economy Initiative come up here. Wafa, Shelley, Ken. In fact, Shelley, why don't you introduce this one? So this is the best early stage runner-up.
Runner-up. And we'd like to congratulate the carpet puller.
Congrats, buddy. Congrats.
Congratulations.
I'll get you in the middle here. And all right. Congrats. All right. All right. Mayor, you have to do this one.
All right.
Especially since this is a Southfield-based business.
Yeah. So early stage best goes to Lucy Pop.
Tanya. Good.
I have really brittle nails. So,
We can help you.
We can help with that.
Look at this. I mean, look at that.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1. Awesome.
Right.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
Glad I talked you into it. Took some persuasion to get Tanya to do this, and I'm so glad she did. So now we're moving on to our growth stage companies. So Wafa, I'm going to have you introduce the. We actually decided we wanted to give money to all 5 companies in this category, and we couldn't. So we decided to have 2 runner-ups. And I'll have you announce the first one.
All right, the first runner-up is Aptum Build. Now you got to build all the affordable housing in the region.
We will do that.
You've just signed up.
Very much here.
Oh, come on in.
My right-hand man right here.
All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1. Awesome.
I had a question for you. Are they is easy to disassemble as they are assembled?
They are. They are.
Yeah.
So it's 30 minutes up, 30 minutes down.
All right.
Perfect for cities.
Yeah.
Dan.
Good job.
Hey, thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we're gonna, and then our second runner-up, Shelley.
Oh, sure. Our second stage, growth stage runner-up is Wearology.
Nina.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, congrats, Nina.
The last one.
All right, who wants to do the duties?
I'll do it.
Do it, all right.
All right. Our best growth stage, Celsius.
Good catch. Congrats, Rakesh.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. More. 3, 2, 1. Awesome.
Great. Join me in congratulating our clients. So look these companies up, especially those who are selling products like Pingry and Pret Aluminum Systems. Anybody, help these companies. These people are doing great work, whether it's for yourself or somebody you know. Promote these businesses. These businesses are doing great work, and we can very proudly say are manufacturing right here in our home, in our backyard. So thanks again to City of Southfield, New Economy Initiative, and to our other funders that support our work on a daily basis, like Ralph Wilson Foundation, William Davidson Foundation, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and the Department of Environment, Great Lakes Energy, and others. Really fortunate to have the support of so many people that see the value in what we're doing every day. Again, if you want to learn more about the Southfield Evolution Lab program or the NEI Micromakers program, you have the opportunity to scan this QR code, and we'll make these presentations available as well as the video recording after the event. And one last thing, I would be remiss if I did not recognize the contributions of our staff that work so tirelessly every day to provide great services to our clients and ensure an event like this really goes off without any major hinges. And so our operations manager, I don't know where she is, Heather Boyd, is she around? She's hiding. Get out here. I can't say enough how amazing Heather is and the dedication she puts into our operations every day. And she does the work of 5 different people. And I wish I could clone her so we'd have 10 people working on all the activities we need to. And then, of course, Samantha Freeman, who is probably online right now. Hi, Sam, our program manager. And Karen Pollock, who supports a lot of our financial and accounting work. And then our lab manager, John Bracknell, also known as Brack. I don't know where John is, but John does amazing work. So yeah, let's hear it for John. Heart and soul of this place, does a lot of CAD work, works all the prototyping in the back lab. And I also want to thank Riley Lenhard, who was our MC today and does an amazing job. Let's hear it for Riley. Great job. He was behind the scenes doing a lot of work on the day-to-day organizing this event, along with Dennis and Daniel and Heather. So thanks so much, everybody. Ashley Connolly, who's also here, I believe, still with our team. Yes, Ashley. And our interns that are with us today as well. Dylan, Cole, you want to, and Reese behind the camera. I feel like I'm announcing my band members, right? Behind the drums, Reese. So, yeah, I really appreciate all the work our team does. And again, get out there, get to know our clients, and help them out. Thank you. So for those that want to tour the operations, we can take a tour of the lab, and then we'll have reception, drinks, food out. If you can stay, join us. Thanks.